Hi Lee, what's the crack today?
I sure was enjoying that song, and then you put on
That's
that
when
music.
you need to stop playing a bit earlier and stop waffling so
But
much.
sure, it's not even 9 o'clock yet, and you're playing the
By
newsy
the
thing.
time you shut up, it'll still be 9 o'clock.
But you're talking too, it's not just me.
This I, Shirley.
No, surely.
This I.
Come here, what's the crack today then? There's a plane flying about all over the place this morning at 6 o'clock, and there's a lot of few texts and WhatsApps and stuff. Do you know what it would be?
It's normally surveying planes.
Yeah. But that time in the morning?
Zigzagging.
I don't know. It was flying all over the place over Letterkenny and St. Johnson.
It's going to be a survey plane. We'll check it out though.
It was very noisy, apparently. See the texts coming in there. They were very
Was
noisy.
it zigzagging or just flying over once?
See, you wouldn't see if it was zigzagging that time in the morning. It's
Well,
black.
You see
dark.
it on flight radar or whatever.
No, but somebody had a Pathfinder there. It was a German plane. What do you think?
don't know. If it flew over,
Of course it flew
just
over.
once, or did it go back and forward?
Oh, I don't know. You're getting very technical.
Yeah. All right. Well, sure. We'll check it out. That's what we're here for, isn't it?
Good man.
Following planes around
I
the
said
sky.
you would look into it because you're the Mr. Investigator, Spectre Gadget.
You are right.
Yes.
All right. I better get to it, Lee, because I have an awful lot of investigating to do this morning.
Get on with it then. Good luck.
All right. 9 o'clock news update time, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Tensions were high in the Dáil last night after Health Minister Stephen Donnelly failed to be in attendance for the second time for the topical issue on the need for an external review at Letterkenny University Hospital. Sinn Féin deputies Padraig McLaughlin and Pierce Doherty deferred the issue last week after the minister didn't turn up or give any notice. Deputy McLaughlin said the minister needs to set a date to visit Letterkenny, something he told health professionals who wrote him a letter outlining their concerns that he would do.
He knows that they've asked him to come to Donegal urgently to meet them. These are frontline health professionals. He hasn't indicated he's coming to Donegal. I think he said something today about in due course he would come to Donegal. He can't even come into the Dáil chamber. I just think it's the utmost disrespect being shown for the people of Donegal that here we are for the second Tuesday in a row and we do not have the Minister for Health. We have no indication if he will be in Letterkenny anytime soon.
Meanwhile, Deputy Doherty says it's the patients who are suffering at the persistent of ongoing problems.
It does smack of arrogance here that the Minister has 2 weeks in a row decided not to come before the Dáil and listen to what myself and Padraig McLaughlin have to say. And it's not arrogance towards me or Padraig, it's actually to the people of Donegal. It's to the people tomorrow morning who will be still in chairs or in trolleys in the A&E in Letterkenny. It is the people who have received notification over the last number of whiles that their treatment has been postponed once again. It is the people that are wondering, will they ever get that appointment?
It's been a busy period for the all-weather Ironmore RNLI volunteer crew as they have responded to 3 medical evacuations in the past 4 days. On Friday, Monday and just yesterday, patients requiring medical assessment were transported by lifeboat to Burton Port, where they were then met for an ambulance to be further transferred to LUH. In a statement, Ironmore RNLI coxswain Jimmy Early said crews were glad to be able to assist the community with this vital service. Members of the jury for Letterkenny Courthouse have been told they're no longer required to be in attendance. The notice stands for today and for the rest of the week. The courthouse has apologised for any inconvenience caused. The government is being urged to intervene and prevent strike action in Tusla escalating. Admin and clerical staff at the Child and Family Agency are starting to work to rule action today in a dispute over job evaluation scheme. The scheme would ensure employees are not forced to take on work outside of their level when other staff leave. Looking to weather, some mist and fog in places, clearing throughout the morning. Spells of hazy sunshine will occur through the morning and well into the afternoon. That's with highs of 12 to 10 degrees in moderate to fresh southeasterly winds. That's all for now. The next news update is at 10 o'clock. In the meantime, keep up to date with all the latest local news on our website, highlandradio.com. Until then, good morning.
This Halloween at SuperValu, we have great offers on all the big brands you love, like selected goodies like Haribo tubs, Tato multi-pack and Fanta 6-pack, any 3 for €9, exclusive to Real Rewards members only, and money off vouchers every week on the app too. So pop in for great savings in-store or online this Halloween at SuperValu.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. 4 minutes past 9, Wednesday, the 25th of October, 2023. Good morning to you. How are you all keeping? I hope you're very well. This bright morning. It's a nice, bright, dry, fresh morning anyway, so far here across the northwest. I hope it's like that for you wherever you are. For some of you listening and or watching, it's going to be much nicer, I'm sure, if you're out foreign, so to speak. But anyway, we're going to crack on. The show lines are open. WhatsApps and text to 086 60 25000, 086 60 25000. You can give us a call too on 074 91 25000, 074 91 25000, or emails to comments at highlandradio.com. So what do you want to talk about? If you want to watch the show, get on to our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland. You can watch us on your smart TV, your Fire Stick, or across your mobile devices. And we're also broadcasting live on Facebook. Facebook, what are the addresses again? Highland Hub, Highland Radio News and Sport. Okay. We have loads to get through, so let's crack on with the newspapers. And the Finn Valley Voice this morning: Halloween costumes, heed the warnings, says Strabane Mayor. Halloween is dangerous. Fireworks are illegal in Donegal, but a steady flow of us across the border in late October to stock up on fireworks, some of them almost lethal enough to be classified as explosives. And it's not just fireworks, says Strabane Mayor Patricia Logue. There are dangers to children wearing fancy dress costumes if they're around fireworks, sparklers, or open flames, including pumpkins with candles. It's a fair warning indeed. And also to make sure that it's CE marked, because some of the cheaper ones that you might buy online are incredibly flammable, so just be careful with that. Much more on the front of and inside the Finn Valley Voice this morning. The Irish Times today: Ireland is among the only countries in Europe not to have changed its accommodation of offering to refugees fleeing the war in Ukraine. The Cabinet was told during a heated row, we're told, between ministers. Yesterday, Minister for International... Sorry, I beg your pardon. Hope it's not going to be one of those days. Yesterday, Minister for Integration Roderick O'Gorman ran into opposition from Cabinet colleagues over plans which would limit state-provided accommodation for those newly arrived from Ukraine to just 90 days. Mr O'Gorman is said to have told Cabinet colleagues who asked whether Ireland would be the first to change its system that it would be, in fact, among the last to institute reforms of this type. The row, which one source described as among the most divisive, heated discussions that have taken place at Cabinet since the coalition was formed, marks the emergence of an uneasy stalemate at government level over policy on Ukrainian refugees. So what would the majority of you out there believe? Do you think a 90-day limit on state-provided accommodation would suffice? Of course, that would mean lots of people who are would be housed in hotels would be seeking accommodation elsewhere. That being said, it would inevitably, would not, slow down the flow of Ukrainian refugees into Ireland. And it was interesting to note as well that Micheál Martin recognised the fact that there is a scenario whereby those from Ukraine arriving in other European countries where they are safe then move on to Ireland. And it could be because of the accommodation, it could be because of the social welfare payments, or maybe it's just because they prefer to come here. But anyway, what do you think? Do you think there should be a 90-day limit on state-provided accommodation for Ukrainian refugees arriving into Ireland? And what do you believe the impact of that might be? There are concerns that fuel prices are set to surge again after a period of stability. The cost of petrol and diesel held steady in the last month, but the next couple of weeks could lead to fuel prices rising again. Experts said the situation in the Middle East now had oil markets on edge. The attack on Israel by Hamas and the follow-up Israeli military operations in the Gaza Strip have raised fears of a wider Middle East conflict erupting. Crude oil prices traded at €90 yesterday, up from around 84 on the eve of the Hamas attack. An escalation of the Middle East conflict could send burnt crude oil to more than $97 a barrel, according to Justin Doyle of specialist bank Investec in Dublin. We could expect Brent to rise sharply on any escalation and exceed last week's high. Following that, we would look to the high around the end of last month of $97.58 a barrel. On the downside, any further de-escalation could push Brent below $90, Mr. Dole wrote in an investor note. But we don't really get it. If it goes up, we get it. If it goes down, we don't get it, really. That's how it feels, doesn't it, at times? OK, let's go on to the Mail now. The health budget won't be reopened. The budget allocation for the Department of Health will not be reopened over fears it would only create a new floor and not a ceiling for most overruns. Funding for the Department of Health increased to $22.5 billion in the budget, but the allocation means it will only sustain existing services and will not be able to progress any new measures, some of which have previously been announced. When a €1.5 billion deficit is accounted for, there'll just be €100 million for new measures under the existing funding envelope, placing increased pressure on the service to introduce cost savings. There are fears within Cabinet that the fallout from the underfunding of the health service will fuel waves of opposition political attacks. And I suppose to some extent there were opposition political attacks last night in the Dáil at around about 11:15 p.m. Deputies Padraig McLaughlin and Pearse Doherty again tried to question the health minister on topical issues, during topical issues on the situation at Letterkenny University Hospital. They were upset. Now, I don't know how often ministers are in or out or what's the expectation upon them. That's to be completely honest with you. But they had initially went in last Tuesday to question the health minister on services at Letterkenny University Hospital. He was absent. So they deferred that. And had expected, I suppose, to ask him the questions last night in the Dáil. Now, Stephen Donnelly was again not present, and a Minister of State answered on his behalf a letter, effectively reading from a letter that's available on our website right now, which effectively said that, to paraphrase, and we've again invited Stephen Donnelly on the programme to discuss the issues, effectively said that, lots of money has been put into the hospital, 35 extra million, though we've heard from those who used to be involved in the management of the hospital that kind of money is only really enough to stand still, and that other measures were being taken. Now, we had put that to consultants when they were on this programme, and they says, yes, that's grand. There are things that are being done. We welcome that. But this does not address the fundamentals of the problems at Letterkenny University Hospital, and that's why they wanted a full external review of its workings. And I kind of got a tone from Minister Stephen Donnelly's letter, his statement, that he what the problem probably is too many of us are going to hospital, which I really don't think there's too many go to hospital that don't need to go to hospital, and it only becomes a problem for the hospital when people are admitted to the hospital. But look, maybe that is part of the problem. We are at a disadvantage because we can't put those questions to any government minister to respond to. So there's a bit of a vacuum here, and if it sounds like I'm being one-sided on this, it's not the case. I just simply don't have access to either our local minister or Minister Stephen Donnelly just to put the questions as politely as I did to Tony Canavan on the issues relating to Letterkenny University Hospital. But unfortunately I just don't have that. But anyway, that was the response, and Stephen Donnelly said that he will come to Donegal at some point in the future. Right, the Irish Daily Star tells us that Irish people are underestimating the current risks of the climate crisis, new research finds. The Environmental Protection Agency said many believe it will harm people in the future, far away, animals and plants, other people, and lastly, themselves personally. So we believe it's going to impact everybody else before it affects us. Many of us are still not seeing the immediate risks of the climate crisis and think others, like future generations, are far more threatened, according to a report. The EPA made the claim a week after towns and villages face serious flooding due to storms and heavy rain. According to the two reports supported by the Yale Programme on Climate Change Communication, young women are more concerned about the impacts of climate change. And there's an awful lot of people out there that say, look, this is weather, it's not climate, and it rained once before and this is just it raining again. And a lot of people go for that because it's a better message, isn't it? It helps us sleep at night, whether it's the truth or not. The scientists say not. The Irish Daily Mirror, Gardaí believe they saved the life of another potential victim of murderer Yousef Palani, who was in contact with a man by phone just hours before his arrest. The Irish Mirror can reveal, as do most papers, he was planning a third murder when detectives and armed officers pounced on his home in Sligo last year. The psychopath is being medically assessed in Mountjoy Prison after being caged for life this week at the Central Criminal Court. Palani murdered much-loved and popular men Aidan Moffat and Michael Snell Anthony, as well as inflicting a brutal attack on Anthony Burke, which left him blind in one eye. Sources have revealed that when Gardaí were frantically working to track down Palini, he is suspected to have been in contact with another man and attempted to meet him. And lastly, in the Irish Sun, the net is closing in on the leaders of the Kinahan cartel, with top cops from Dubai in Dublin this week to discuss the Gardaí's investigation into the gang. It comes as Justice Minister Helen McEntee met with her UAE counterpart to discuss a possible extradition deal that could see the Kinahans brought back to Ireland to face a range of criminal allegations. Last month, Garda Commissioner Drew Harris flew to Dubai to meet with the Commander-in-Chief of the Dubai Police to discuss working together to clamp down on transnational crime gangs, and many would see that as the net closing ever further on the leaders of the Kinahan cartel. Across all of the papers, there's a lot of coverage, and why not, of Daniel O'Donnell. He is a class act, isn't he? He was on This Morning, which is a hugely popular show in Britain, which many of you watch, I'm sure, here. And of course, he is always quick-witted. And this is one of the exchanges that seems to have got most of the headlines today.
But you are a massive heartthrob.
Shush, that's a lie.
Do you still get, ladies throwing knickers at you on the stage?
Well, they're just a wee bit bigger than they used to be now.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the 2022 C-Store National Off-Licence of the Year. Make your Christmas party unforgettable at Sister Sarah's this December. Book now for the best Christmas party in town. See Facebook for menu and dates. Sister Sarah's are proud sponsors of today's show.
Crawford Tiles and More Castlefin. Now stocking Chronospan high-quality laminate flooring. AC4 rated with a 20-year guarantee. 8mm $9.99 to $10.99 a square yard. 10mm $12.50 a square yard. 12mm $14.99 a square yard. High gloss $16.99 a square yard. In stock and ready to go. That's Crawford Tiles Castlefin. 914342.
The Opel Open Road event is now on. Discover the incredible Opel range, including Continental Tire's Irish Compact Car of the Year 2023, the Opel Astra. And if you order before December 15th, get a €500 Aldi voucher with your new Astra, Corsa, Mokka or Grandland. All available with flexible payment options. Test drive the entire Opel range now at the Opel Open Road event. Now on at Manor Motors Opel. See manormotors.ie for details.
O'Neill's Sportswear Warehouse Clearance Sale is back in Strabane this week. From this Wednesday the 25th through to Saturday the 28th, there will be major reductions in unmissable products. Find incredible deals on training gear, jerseys, jackets and so much more. Don't miss out. O'Neill's Sportswear Warehouse Clearance Sale in Strabane, Wednesday to Saturday. O'Neill's, live for it.
Join me, David James, on the Jive Time this Friday from the newly opened Water's Edge restaurant, Rathmullen. We will be there from 2:30 p.m. with great music, fantastic giveaways, and maybe a little sample of the delicious food. That's this Friday, live from the Water's Edge restaurant, Rathmullen.
Join David James with the Jive Time team this Thursday live from Cooney's Home Interiors for the launch of their Christmas shop. They've gone all out this year and their Christmas decor is bigger and better than ever, with 20% off everything on the day, excluding existing special offers.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time is 9:18. Police in Derry City and Strabane say we're investigating a report of a suspicious approach to a child in Strabane, reported to have occurred on Friday morning, the 20th of October at around 8:20. The parent of that child in question is Sean. Sean, thanks for joining us this morning.
No problem. Good morning.
Can you tell us what you were told happened?
Basically, my son, he goes between myself and his mum, and in this particular day he was with his mum, and the walk from school is about 7-8 minutes long, just from Ballycoman. People know it in Strabane. It's a well-known route from Ballycoman down the Melmot Road past the old Adria site and to St Mary's School there. So it's about a 7-8 minute long walk, and he's been doing it for maybe just shy of a year now from last year. A lot of kids do it. Mm-hmm. And he was doing that on Friday morning. Now he goes to breakfast club in school, which is around about 8:30. So he leaves that little bit early, compared to a lot of kids. I know he's very, he's autistic, so he's very kind of set about times, and he needs to be at breakfast club. He's got friends, and so he's been doing this wee route for nearly a year now. And so a black Jeep approached him at a little kind of intertwine between the old Adria site and the Melmount Road, and just asked him if he wanted to get in and wanted to lift to school, which is on the whole basis of things is not concerning. But then when the car went up, the Jeep went up to the top road, it then turned the opposite way off the school. A gentleman described in his 60s to 70s had a hood and a baseball cap on and glasses. And to be honest, that's about it. That's literally. Logan obviously said no, so really proud of him.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what more to say. We've alerted the school put an alert out to everyone. I don't really know what to say, except for it's pretty much that. It's kind of sickening feeling in the stomach, the more I think about it.
I know. And was your son able to tell you, did he say anything other than, do you want to lift to school? Did he try and entice him in any other way into the vehicle?
No, he just wound the window down, asked him, and it seemed to be very quick, and then kind of cleared.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it, like I say.
So he refused.
I've repeated myself about 100 times now, and it's only a very short, kind of quick incident.
I get you. I understand that, but it's important to get it out, and fair play to you, Sean, for doing so. So it was a black Jeep. Once your son refused, the Jeep drove off towards the junction of Beechmount Avenue and Melmount Road towards Strabane Town Centre. Now, obviously, it's significant enough. Obviously, it is going to be from your perspective, but from a police perspective, that they've issued information and appeal in relation to this. They say, we appeal to anyone who was in the area and who may have noticed this vehicle around 8:20 or just shortly afterwards to contact police, and they're particularly keen to speak to anyone with a dash cam. And I presume that extends to CCTV or doorbell cams or whatever it might be. I think it's just important that this person is spoken to ascertain exactly what was going on here.
Yeah, I don't want to give it too much away, but there was a major breakthrough last night, and we've, as I say, the police investigating. The police were around at my house last night, stupid hours in the morning, because we had a good bit of a breakthrough. I don't want to give too much away, but it was just, let's just say, it wasn't quite 20 past. It was about just before, about 14 minutes past 8.
Okay,
I can say that now. And yeah, no, it's just a sickening feeling. Thank God Logan said no. As I say, he won't be going to school anytime soon on his own. It's getting darker. It's getting darker now in the morning for these school runs. As I say, it's breakfast club he was going to, so it was a little bit quieter than usual, maybe, even though it is a big stretch of road. I think the only thing I can say is a few people have said there's been similar incidents, maybe something on Saturday and something in Omar a few days before that. Now, I don't want to get involved in hearsay, but I think the only thing I want to say for them out there is just be extra careful with your kids. And Logan certainly won't be walking to school on his own anytime soon. He'll be doing it with his cousins, or he'll be getting a lift to and from. And as I say, it's just I've got a sickening feeling to think that someone could potentially be out there looking to do that, and this day and age, you just don't stop and ask a child for a lift. You don't.
There's no good way. There's no good way to explain it away, really. And is Logan okay? Obviously he did the right thing, and maybe isn't aware of the hullabaloo that's surrounding this now, or maybe he is. How is he, Sean? He's all right. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I haven't really pressed him on it too much, because I don't want him to. But he did. I was on the phone to the police yesterday, and he did overhear a conversation. And I just explained to him, listen, Logan, it was one or two things. It was someone being genuine, and they were maybe of a generation that didn't think twice, which is what, you always hope, don't you? You always hope it was just someone that's seen, it was raining and stuff. But then I did say it could have been a really bad man type of thing, and you'd done the right thing, and emphasising how proud I am that he didn't get in. And he's sure he knows to change up now, because, as I say, me and his mother and his step-parents as well, we've made procedures in to make sure that he doesn't go to school on his own anytime soon anyway. And it's just, it's just deeply concerning and a bit panicky, That's just the way we're going society-wise, it seems now, unfortunately, Sean. Okay, well, listen, thank you for that, and hopefully maybe the police will release any information they feel is appropriate if there's been any advances, as you've indicated, in the investigation. But for now, Sean, thank you.
No problem.
All right,
Good
take
one.
care of yourself. All right, that is Sean there. Any further info on that? 086 60 25,000. If you're listening to us from the north, of course you know, because we're texting each other back and forwards all the time. I don't need to tell you, but I shall anyway. 00353 86 60 25,000. An emailer says... this was sent last evening. What's going on with the new lights at the Polestar? I've been in a traffic backup from Remoulton for over an hour. Crazy. Well, I kind of hung about yesterday just to have a look at this for myself because do you ever see those memes or on social media? And it's like on the left, it's like how it started, how it's going. And towards the end of the show yesterday, I was like, oh, you know what? Look, they're only new. We'll give it a chance. A couple of weeks, the tweaking here and there. That was how it started. 4 hours later, I'm sat on the Remoulton Road for well over an hour. It took me 2.5 hours with a toddler to get from Milford to Donegal town. 2.5 hours. All of that, bar the 40 minutes and the 10 minutes either side, was spent in traffic. And there's no way around it too. It just was not moving. And then people thought they were clever and they cut up here and cut down there, and it was just chock-a-block, pure and utter gridlock. And I don't know if anyone was going home, picking children up from school, hospital appointment, if there was emergency services. And I'm genuinely will wait and see. That's the approach I tried to take. But yesterday, it can't keep going like that. And coming in this morning as well, traffic backed out as far as the Clannery. I can only talk about the roads that I was on, right? So I'm not saying the lights always need to be green for me. But I put a post up just on social media to gauge what everyone else was experiencing in and around Letterkenny. And as I say again, I do understand that if you're in Inshone, if you're listening to us in Killybegs, or you're out in beautiful Dunlow or Glentees or Ardra, or wherever you happen to be, or even the Twin Towns for that matter, which have its own traffic issues, you might be saying, oh, he's not talking about these traffic lights again. But we have to, because tens of thousands of cars were caught up in them. An awful lot of people, lots of babysitters getting calls saying, listen, can you hold on to them for another half hour? And on it goes. I'm told now it's still very slow this morning at nearly 9:30 p.m. And it seems to have locked up yesterday at about 4 o'clock, which I'm not sure. Is that school traffic? Is that drive time? Is that when people are leaving work? I don't know. But anyway, we're going to get on to the council and see if there's any explanation. Is there further tweaking that can be done? Because once I cleared the Remoulton Road, and as I say, me and Hudson got to know each other really well on that journey. But once I had cleared the Polestar roundabout, I noted on the two lanes coming into Letterkenny on that side as well that it was chocker. The traffic was back out as far as the Clannery again. Now, I don't know what it was like coming in past the ATU or in that other road, which someone will tell me that. Is it the Neil? Which road is it past the council offices, Caroline? Is that the Neil T. Blaney Road? No? Past the council offices onto the roundabout? I'm terrible at this stuff. It could be. If it's not, I apologise. But anyway, you know that road. I don't know how that traffic is moving or how far it's backed up. Is it backed up as far as Curry's or wherever? I don't know. I can only talk to the Remoulton Road and the two lanes into it. But I don't know how it can be tweaked to accommodate that problem, but listen, maybe it will be. Any views to that? 086 60 25,000. Hi, Greg. I work on the Remoulton side of Letterkenny. You finish work at 5 p.m. Usually on a bad day with traffic, it could take me 15 minutes to get home. Yesterday evening, it took me 50 minutes to get home with the traffic backed up all the way past Alcorns beside the Golf Course Road. Unfortunately, since the traffic lights were turned on, the Polestar roundabout, this has become a frequent event. The traffic coming in from the Remoulton side of the town has become a nightmare in the evenings. Again, I was sitting in it. I know a lot of people thought then, right, we'll nip up past Alcorns and we can avoid it that way. No dice. It was backed up on that road as well. So there was literally nowhere to go. And for great periods of time, it wasn't moving. And then you've got other roundabouts at that part of town that just people sit on them. They just sit on them. There's no yellow boxes. There's no traffic management. People just sit on those roundabouts. And even if there is a gap, you can't move because that gap's filled by other traffic. Anyway, if you want to talk about that a bit more, 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts to that number.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Get ready for the most wonderful time of the year at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. Secure your preferred party night now with fantastic food and a festive atmosphere throughout December. Sister Sarah's, proud sponsors of today's show.
Do you want the very best for your pet? At Gary's Pet World Letterkenny, we offer fantastic value on all your pet foods, accessories, grooming and pet care products. We cater for cats, dogs, rabbits, birds and fish, and open 7 days per week at Letterkenny Retail Park. Or you can browse and buy 24/7 at petworld.ie and we will deliver to your home. Treat your pet with a visit to Gary's Pet World. It's what they deserve.
Come and experience awesome this weekend at Connolly's 2019 Mercedes-Benz Motor Show at Letterkenny Golf Club, November 2nd and 3rd. Test drive the entire 2020 range, along with a selection of Mercedes-Benz certified used cars. You can also view the Mercedes-Benz, the all-electric EQC, CLS, AMG 53, CLA Coupe, A-Class Saloon, and the all-new GLE. Book your test drive at testdrive@connolly's.ie or call into us today on November 2nd and 3rd at Letterkenny Golf Course. Full driver's license required on day of test drive. CLS AMG static display only.
Easy Living Furniture's Oktoberfest sale has been extended but must end Sunday. Absolutely everything reduced, including sofas, dining, bedroom and mattresses. Final reductions for the last few days while stocks last. And remember, there's 0% interest-free finance available, so the decision is easy. Visit Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park. Oktoberfest sale must end Sunday.
Are the signs of aging creeping up on you? Are you not happy with the way you look or feel? At Letterkenny Medics Private Clinic, we're here to help you, offering Botox anti-wrinkle injections, derma fillers, skin bio injections, Botox treatment for grinding and clenching teeth, hyperhidrosis that aids excessive sweating. Let our doctors help bring back your confidence and look after what is important to you. To see what real results really look like, book your immediate appointment with no waiting time at letterkennymedics.ie. Letterkenny Medics, we listen if you want to talk.
Recently engaged and planning your wedding? If so, the Encourage Autumn Wedding Showcase takes place this Saturday, October 28th from 12 till 6 p.m. Come along and view our stunning wedding venue and meet with the dedicated wedding team at Encourage Hotel Gweedore.
A texter says, traffic back to Lurgy Brack School coming into Letterkenny. This is a joke, they say, not a funny one. Is it that far back? Wow. Morning, Greg. Traffic back as far as McDade's garage. Disgraceful in the morning, says another listener there. Why are the Irish paying €100 more to refugees than any other European country, to a country that isn't even a full member of the EU? Tell Lee those lights are actually Elon Musk's row of satellites. I'd be more interested in their purpose. Their purpose is, sorry, that's obviously a comment Lee had on their show. Their purpose is to provide internet where you can't get internet. If you are stuck up a back road that it doesn't get serviced by internet, you can get a satellite dish, and he will, through his Starlink company, provide that satellite connectivity for you. Hi, Greg. I think the end game for Israel now is to raze Gaza to the ground, leave it uninhabitable, and ethically cleanse the Palestinians from it for good, hunting them to Egypt or Turkey. Or just any country for that matter. Then they will annex it like the Golan Heights, and within a few years there'll be more than enough room for hundreds of thousands of illegal settlers to reside there. And the USA will aid them in their unconscionable malevolence, genocidal ambitions and crimes against humanity, says a listener. And just looking at some of the images of what's left, and this is only a couple of days into what they plan to do, it's shocking what's there. What's happening there. Brian Hanley is CEO of Alliance for Insurance Reform and joins us on the show now. Good morning to you, Brian.
Good morning.
Right, okay, so a significant protocol is being signed in. Tell us a little bit about this and how it will benefit us, I suppose.
Sure. So the protocol signed between the Alliance for Insurance Reform and the Gardaí, and indeed Insurance Ireland and the Gardaí, on behalf of its members, will provide a new process for the reporting of suspected insurance fraud to a dedicated Garda office which will address this. And I think what we're hoping is that this will provide for a more consistent and coordinated approach to dealing with insurance fraud claims.
And one issue of that, before you go on to, was, and this came out during one of these Oireachtas committee meetings, really the insurance industry wasn't investigating potential fraud as such, and whichever way to balance their books or for expedience or whatever it is, they were just settling or not referring as many as they possibly could to the guards. And of course then, who picks up the tabs for these payouts? It is us. Now that's going back a couple of years now. I think in fact it was Deputy Pierce Doherty was doing the questioning at that time. So what are they going to be compelled or expected to do going forward in that regard?
Well, I think that's one of the big asks again today that needs to be addressed, because we do hear insurers coming out and claiming maybe as much as 20% of cases could be fraudulent or exaggerated, and yet the evidence, as you suggest, is that they're not adequately resourced. So one of the things that we're saying is they must stop settling suspect claims. It's a short term, but the long-term benefit is then deprived of us and them in terms of dealing with those and sending the message that they will be challenged. And the other element, as you rightly point out, is that they need to adequately invest in their resources. I mean, if you look at last year in 2022, there were 18,000 personal injury cases for claims. And the Central Statistics Office found that there were only 98 insurance fraud cases brought.
Wow.
So there's a huge disparity. And look, like everything, I'm suggesting that the amount of insurance fraud that probably goes on is higher than that number, but I would suggest it's probably a good deal less than what the insurers are saying when they cite it as yet one more reason why your premium can't come down.
Yeah, and is there transparency as to how much resources of their own the insurance companies will put into investigating this or have in the past? Because at the end of the day, A, we pick up the price, the tab, as I said earlier on, but B, realistically, the under-resourced Gardaí can end up being overburdened with, every claim that's in any way suspicious being sent to them. They don't have the resources to investigate it. Is this going to slow the whole process down? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's lots of, really, how deep are the insurance companies' pockets in signing this protocol? Because they need to be pretty deep.
I suspect that there's quite a number of insurers that don't properly investigate these claims at all. My sense is if they were doing it, they'd have told you already. And so on that basis, I think while one or two are quite active in this area and do invest resources, do challenge claims, I'd say a majority certainly don't. And while it is an accounting exercise in some respects in the short term, and they say it's cheaper to settle, that certainly isn't a long-term solution and sends the wrong message and will cost them and us more over an extended period of time.
It's not just in car insurance too. It's defamation claims or whatever it might be as well. Right, we had this thing that sounded more like a James Bond film than anything else. The Book of Quantum. It's to be replaced by judicial guidelines. What's that about?
Yes, so this is something that was introduced as part of, I suppose, a wholesale reform of the insurance sector in Ireland. The Book of Quantum essentially had a list of the awards for particular injuries. However, the categories were really quite broad and discretionary, and so that was replaced by the judicial guidelines in 2021, which has a far greater number of different categories and different levels of awards, which means that the injury better aligns with the award. And what we have seen is that the awards that are coming out now under the judicial guidelines are some 40% less than what they were under the Book of Quantum, which really better aligns with what you'd get in other countries as well. That comes then, in addition to the reforms of PIAB, which has also brought changes. We would see, generally speaking as well, that there's 40% reduction in the volume of claims. So if you're seeing a reduction in the volume of claims and you're seeing a reduction in the size of awards, the missing piece is to see a reduction in people's premiums, whether that's public liability or otherwise. And the last piece I should mention, of course, was the recently commenced changes to the duty of care, which again changes the insurance landscape in Ireland and makes it a much fairer plane on which to do business.
And the issue we have here, and this is why we have to stay on the backs of the insurance companies here, is because if all of this works out well, it's like turkeys voting for Christmas here, because, insurance companies, there's more transparency there in terms of the money they're taking in versus what we're paying for premiums. But also, too, the Irish insurance market could look more attractive for new entrants, okay? And if you have a bit of a cozy cartel, and I don't mean that in literal terms because of the potential legal implications for it, but I mean in terms of a small group of people operating insurance in this country in a very competitive way against each other, I'm sure. You could see others enter the market there. We've already seen Revolut coming in for car insurance and what have you. So, I think that means we really have to make sure we're keeping the insurance companies to the pin of the collar, because everything really is in their favour not to go as far down this road as we'd like them to.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's utterly incumbent on the government to hold insurers' feet to the fire to pass on some of these savings, because the judicial guidelines weren't written solely for the benefit of insurance companies. They were written for you and I and for everybody else that's listening. So it's really important that the government does put pressure on insurers to pass on some of these savings. And you're absolutely right. It's a far more attractive insurance market in which to do business, with the reduction in the volume of claims, the changes in the law, and the reduction in the size of awards.
And the real tests here are lower premiums and more companies in the market. That's how we'll know the success here, isn't it?
They are the two key measures, increased competition and a reduction in premiums. And I think after all the changes, and it's really been a whole of society effort, whether it's the Guards and this protocol or the judicial guidelines or the legislative changes supported by the opposition, it's really time for them to play their part now.
And of course, we'll also have to keep an eye on convictions or cases that are being brought by An Garda Síochána. That's another a test really as to the enforcement of this.
Absolutely.
Because we don't really want a situation whereby the only real measure to try and reduce fraudulent claims is us talking about it and people being fearful of being caught out. The reality is, if there are genuine fraudulent claims, people have to be seen to be found responsible for that.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it needs to become more socially unacceptable. I think the vast majority of us would never consider, bringing a fraudulent a claim and so on. But I do think perhaps, it needs to be that it's not accepted that we don't just let it pass, or it's okay to say, sure, isn't he grand? He's after getting a few bob for himself. That day is gone, because that impacts on your premium and mine and on the local corner shop or sporting group. So we do need to see, and I appreciate there's a degree of resources that needs to be invested, but if we're playing into the medium and long term for everyone's benefit, then they do need to be investigated, and we do need to cry stop. Yeah,
and we are a particularly small market, so that's why we have to be particularly, good on these things, so that the likes of your soft play area and your sports club and your festival can actually get insurance to run these events.
That's just it, exactly. We have to, and I think we have come a long way in that regard. And I think people are beginning to hear about it. And you've mentioned we have new incumbents in motor insurance coming in, including Outsurance from South Africa. But we haven't seen anything yet in the area of public liability. And there are organisations in different sectors up and down the country crying out for cover or increased competition so that they have more than one person to go to get a quote.
Yeah, do you have to be? Can you answer just a general insurance question? I'll put it to you and see if it's in your wheelhouse, so to speak. I got a message. It is from Revolut. I might as well say it, and it says it said to me, apply for car insurance. Right, so I was sitting watching telly and thought, right, I'll do that. And then I've never had any issue with car insurance before. Getting car insurance, no claims, no points, no nothing like that. There, and it come back and says you're not eligible for a quote. Now I can't understand why that might be. Everything's pretty normal. Now, if I contact another insurance company, I have to inform them now, even though I was just messing about my app, I actually really have to inform them that I've been declined an insurance quote. Is that something we have to be careful about?
I think that's probably something, you alluded to it in your question, it's probably something that's a little bit outside my jurisdiction. But definitely worth asking Insurance Ireland what the protocol there is, because I can't imagine if it's happened to you, I'm sure it's happened to others.
Yeah, and again, as I say, I just note that when you look for a policy, they do, one of the questions they ask you is, have you been declined? And I suppose theoretically I have, but anyway. Okay, it's probably worth something checking out in case it works against me. God knows there's enough doing that already. Take care of yourself, Brian. Brian Hanley, CEO of Alliance for Insurance Reform. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts to that number, of course. Back with our next guest in studio, I believe, after these.
At Sister Sarah's Gastropub Letterkenny, let us look after your Christmas party needs this December with excellent food and entertainment in Letterkenny's premier venue, 912238. Sister Sarah's, proud sponsors of today's show.
Hi, Teresa Mannion here with a road safety alert for bad weather. If a road is flooded, do not drive through it and heed any detours or road closures placed by the Gardaí or local authorities. Don't risk getting stranded and don't put life at risk. Visit rsa.ie from the Road Safety Authority.
Return, refund, recycle. Ireland's deposit return scheme is coming. From the 1st of February 2024, when you buy a drink in a bottle or can with the return logo, you'll pay a small deposit. Once you're refreshed, return your empty, undamaged bottle or can to any shop or supermarket and get your deposit back. The result? Less litter, less waste, and better recycling for Ireland. For more, visit return.ie.
Finding a new car takes time. Searching, researching, comparing, test driving, shortlisting. It doesn't happen overnight, but 12 days should do it. Between November 1st and 12th, the 12 Days of Ford sales event can save you up to a whopping €5,000 on the Ford Kuga. With further offers for 2024 available on Puma and Focus when you finance with Ford Options. No rush, but do get a move on. Ford, bring on tomorrow. T's and C's apply at participating dealers until November 12th. Visit Ford.ie for details.
A visit to Rossview Business Park in Letterkenny is a must this weekend, where Donegal Tile Centre, together with Rossview Interiors, are having a mega 3-day sale this Thursday the 26th, Friday the 27th and Saturday the 28th. There'll be wall and floor tiles at less than half price, vanity units from €180 and freestanding baths reduced to $799. Get a massive 40% discount off real leather sofas. Corner suites are from €990, dining sets from $790, and there'll be huge savings on occasional furniture. So come along this weekend to Rossview Business Park, Letterkenny, just off the Polestar roundabout, and pick up a real bargain.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
Okay, spells of hazy sunshine will occur through the morning and well into the afternoon. Rain's likely during the evening or early night. Highest temperatures 10 to 12 degrees in moderate to fresh southeasterly winds. Okay, now we promise to keep you up to date with any progress or otherwise in the campaign for improved services for our children and young adults. And that's what we're doing right now. Joe Corkery, Special Needs Parents Network, is back in studio with us. Joe, thanks for making yourself available. It's really appreciated.
Hi there. Thanks, Millie, for having us.
Right. So the group was formed, representations were made, and a meeting was secured and held. And at that meeting, you got a good audience. You felt you were being listened to. The HSE committed to respond within 30 days, and they've done so.
They have done.
And that's why we have you back in for this update. Okay,
Thanks,
so what was the response from the HSE?
So we, at the meeting on the 16th of October with the heads of the CHO1, HSE and the TDs, we presented our report, which is the stakeholder impact of the CDNT crisis, to the audience there, and we presented 4 emergency interim measures.
Now, this report was... you created this, and it was drawn from real people's experiences that were invited through the Facebook and other outlets to participate. So this was the needs, the wants, and the reality of parents and caregivers of children with special needs.
Exactly.
Or additional
we had
needs.
300 responses to a survey. We also engaged with, over a dozen schools just to know what their needs are, because obviously, it's important for children to have therapy, to be able to access their educations, and there's some fantastic work going on in schools and they need support too. We also engage with lots of individuals that work within the HSE who can see the impact, like GPs, public health, and we also spoke with some individuals within Letterkenny Hospital who see the impact of it as well. So
the 4 areas then that were identified, we'll take them one at a time. The first one and its response.
So the first one was, I suppose, our most critical. So we asked for a pathway for children who need essential equipment for the HSE in the absence of any therapies. So there are a number of children around the country, a decent number of children who are in wheelchairs, who require standers, who require walkers, who require splints, essential equipment. Also, I would include
include in that communication devices. Children who have no voice use a communication device to communicate and you know, I suppose communicate their needs and be able to integrate and functionally with families and friends and, you know, their schooling. So we asked for the HSE to respond to us within 1 week with a pathway for children to be able to access those equipment, because I suppose we were in a void. We had no services, and I suppose I'm a mother of a child who relies on quite a number of pieces of very expensive equipment, critical equipment, and I didn't know how to access that. And there are many like me, and you know, there are a number of complex children around the county who, you know, we spoke about in a report, who really urgently need that.
And
that
up until
pathway.
now, too, there were groups of not groups actually. There were individual families.
Mm-hmm.
Banging their heads against the wall in frustration, seeking this type of equipment, getting the same answers back, hoping that there'll be another response in 3 weeks, hoping there'll be another response in 4 weeks, and on it goes. In some cases, the children outgrowing the equipment or becoming non-functional for them, or never having access to them. Again, when you come together, this is how these things are achieved. It's brilliant in that regard. But anyway, their commitment: a senior physiotherapist will complete the reviews and adjustments of the home-based equipment for children who meet the P1 criteria for such equipment.
Yeah.
And they go on to say that CDNM and senior physiotherapists will complete this via overtime week commencing 30th of October, and it'll be carried out at Millennium Court HSE premises in Letterkenny and or the child's family home where it's not practical to bring equipment to a clinic setting.
Yeah.
That seems like a clear pathway.
That seems like a clear pathway, and I suppose it's measurable. You know, we'll see it over the next couple of weeks as to, you know, whether it is happening on the ground, which is what we really are going to measure success on. In this response from the HSE, which we received within 7 days, so, you know, it's absolutely fantastic. They also refer to the redeployment of staff from other areas where staff are in existence so that they can prioritise the highest needs.
So talk about, how does that work? So human resources are scoping the redeployment of staff from primary care to assist with special cohorts of children identified with prioritised equipment. So what does that mean in real terms?
Well, I suppose we have come across a number of cases, Greg, where families have two children. One of them has a child with complex needs, for example. We'll use speech and language as the example. One of them has a child with complex needs, maybe completely non-verbal. Another child has a need which may be, you know, a slight lisp, or maybe mixing up their S's and their R's or whatever it may be. Those families are saying to us, my child who has this, you know, not the speech impediment that maybe doesn't have a huge impact on their life or their function or their education, has 6 appointments between now and Christmas. My child who is completely non-verbal and is within a CDNT team has nothing and is getting no contact, and we have no hope of an appointment anytime within the next 12 months. And we're seeing a bit of a disconnect there. And I suppose as Special Needs Parents Network, we're concerned that the children who urgently receive the care with the greatest needs are not being prioritised.
And we're not pitching one group against the other.
No, we're not at all.
They that lost time much
will
more
have
difficult to make up as well.
And even if there's you know, I suppose a consistency amount between the services of primary care and Children's Network disability teams, if we can see consistent level of service, that would make us very happy, you know. So that was one of our and I suppose another thing is we're doing a lot of recruitment, and you know, we see radio ads, and we're seeing, you know, the HSE are really working and stepping up on recruitment, which is fantastic to see. But we're going to need experience in the teams to support those new employees. So we feel that will also support that.
And I think too, and the minister responsible stood up in the door and go, panels. I don't like panels. We need to get rid of panels, right? But we need those words, and she's very, very good, and the words resonate, right? But we need those words to actually come into reality. Okay, so you want rid of panels, we want rid of panels, but you're the one who can actually make these decisions. What are you going to do about it, right? We don't need sympathetic ministers or ministers of observation, and I mean this with absolute respect. We need ministers that are actually saying, right, okay, we need, this is how we're going to do what I believe we need to do. And not sort of have this constant thing, well, I'm trying and I'm banging my head, I'm running out of leaving meetings and banging my head with the civil service. We don't need to hear that.
No,
we just need to hear, you know, what actually is happening and how it's going to happen.
Absolutely. How we're measuring success as a group is, you know, are our children seeing a difference on the ground? Are we getting offered supports and therapy?
Right, so we've done one area or two areas.
So we've
there?
we've done two areas.
Yeah.
So the first area, I will say, the HSE, what we're seeing, is a real, genuine collaborative effort between parents.
You can see how that might work.
And the HSE,
you
and
can see how that
really,
might work.
and we've parent representatives in each area that are working as well towards all these goals to try and support the children within CDNT teams. So we have to commend that effort, and this is a 2-page letter in response to our emergency measures, and we're really, really encouraged.
Okay,
by
private therapy providers are going to be engaged.
Yes.
This is something that was talked about in the studio right from the get-go.
Yeah. Well, I suppose again, our intention is that children receive support and therapy as soon as possible. This is a time-sensitive issue for lots of children. And if the therapy can't be provided through the HSE, then maybe another delivery model needs to be assessed. And there are resources that are working out there privately. Many of them are ex-HSE employees. So we need to maybe look to see, can we use those
And the Minister
avenues?
said that she has millions upon millions of unspent money because there is issues with recruitment, and that could be recommissioned. But again, we need to see how that money is going to get to parents and when it's going to get to parents, so that they can continue with private if they need to, but also that private is made available to them. I can't believe where time is going so quickly. So what else?
The last emergency measure. Emergency measure number 1, we've heard back within 7 days, and there has been a genuine attempt to try and provide that pathway. So we're very encouraged by that. Now we need to see action on the ground. We've had 3 other emergency measures. We're waiting to hear back from them before the 24th of November. So we'll wait patiently for that. And the last emergency measure being support for schools, because there's amazing work going on in schools. Like TG Cahar were at a school in Falcarra yesterday, demonstrating and illustrating the amazing work going on for children in schools with very little services and support from the CDNT teams.
Yeah.
I suppose as a group, one of the things I wanted to mention as well, Greg, if it's okay with you, yesterday there was a launch within the HSE of a roadmap for service improvement for the Children's Network Disability Teams, 2023 to 2026. And I suppose there is an acknowledgement from all areas that the systems are struggling. There's over 16,000 children in this country waiting to access these teams that are already struggling, and many children within these teams are not getting the services they need. So, we're all driving in the same direction, and our destination, I guess, is better services for our children. Our group, we really want to see that sooner rather than later. We can't wait for recruitment, so we need to look at other options. So there's a whole cohort of parents out there listening to this, or grandparents or relatives who are thinking, "Gosh, I wish I could get into one of these teams because I'm sitting in no man's land." So all of this is working towards all children who need these services.
And as well as this too, they have to look at how recruitment is being done, how qualifications are being recognised, how positions are being advertised, all of that kind of stuff. So that's the back end stuff, I would say, and then this is sort of mixing and messing with the front end stuff. That's
just
what
how can we get delivery of services?
Exactly, because there's a short, medium and long-term solution to this, and we're kind of talking about the short now. Now the Minister has recognised what seemed to be a lot of the issues, as did the Simon Harris. It's Simon Harris, isn't it? But again, it is, but we need action to back up those words, and we will give as much credit as is required here on this show as well. Do not get me wrong. Right, Joe, listen, thanks for coming in and give us an update. I know not everyone's on Facebook or whatever, and it's good for them to hear it out through the radio as well, so they know what's being done, and progress is being made, and it's a cautious welcome at this point, and we'll see where we go to from here.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Joe Corkery of the Special Needs Parents Network, battling the traffic to get up to the mountaintop for a chat this morning. We'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show after the news and obituary notices.
'Tis almost the season to indulge. Secure your staff party or get-together at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. Christmas party nights now available to book on 9122238. Sister Sarah's, our proud sponsors of today's show.
Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, supporting you with the right footwear. Hoka Trainers. Have you tried the Hoka Sensation yet? Hoka provides comfort, support and shock absorption, which makes them a good choice for frequent runners and walkers, or anyone whose job requires standing for the majority of the day. For support or pronation, try the Arari 6. For maximum cushioning, try Hoka Bondi 8. Check in store or shop online at bmcsports.ie. Step into our safe-sized experience at Brian McCormick Sports.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Householders and building owners in areas susceptible to wildfires are advised to cut back or remove any vegetation or other combustible material in the vicinity of their house, building or oil tank to prevent wildfires damaging or destroying their property. Cleared areas should be maintained free of vegetation and combustible material. Donegal County Council, protecting your environment.
There's only one thing as good as a TUI holiday, and that's looking forward to one. So get next summer sorted and secure your TUI holiday today. Choose beach, lakes and cruise breaks across a wide range of destinations, including Mexico direct from Dublin, plus all your favourites like holiday villages, Splash World resorts and our own TUI Blue hotels. Secure now with thousands of free child places and a low booking deposit of €25 per person. That's next summer's holiday sorted. TUI. Live happy. T's and C's apply.
We're all going on holiday! How would you like to go on the holiday of a lifetime? Then why not join us for the Highland Radio Hoolie in sunny Salou? Spend 7 nights in the sun with some of Ireland's top entertainers, including Robert Mazzell, Jim Devine, Margot, Claudia Buckley, and many more, with live music all day, every day. Staying in the beautiful 4-star Sol Costa Jurata Hotel, this is a trip not to be missed. Book now by calling Country Music Tours on 074 9119 955 or email info@countrymusictours.ie. We'll see you in sunny Salou.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. It has been revealed that a number of ambulances in Derry could not reach the scene of the emergency in Creasle last year because of a rule pertaining to visas. Paramedics born in a different country could not travel across the border because their visa had prohibited it. Fine Gael Senator Emer Curry told the British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly about the Elton-McGalvin ambulances. The incident was part of a wider issue surrounding the difficulties of registration and visa regulation for healthcare services, especially those near the Northern Irish border. Tensions were high in the Dáil last night after Health Minister Stephen Donnelly failed to be in attendance for the second time for the topical issue on the need for an external review at Letterkenny University Hospital. Sinn Féin deputies Padraig McLaughlin and Pearse Doherty deferred the issue last week after the minister didn't turn up or give any notice. Deputy McLaughlin said the minister needs to set a date to visit Letterkenny, something he told the health professionals who wrote him a letter outlining their concerns that he would do.
He knows that they've asked him to come to Donegal urgently to meet them. These are frontline health professionals. He hasn't indicated he's coming to Donegal. I think he said something today about in due course he would come to Donegal. He can't even come into the Dáil chamber. I just think it's the utmost disrespect being shown for the people of Donegal that here we are for the second Tuesday in a row and we do not have the Minister for Health. We have no indication if he will be in Letterkenny anytime soon.
Deputy McLaughlin that tomorrow Sinn Féin Health spokesperson David Cullinan will visit Letterkenny University Hospital and meet with the GPs and consultants. Meanwhile, Deputy Doherty says it's the patients who are suffering at the persistence of these problems.
It does smack of arrogance here that the Minister has 2 weeks in a row decided not to come before the Dáil and listen to what myself and Padraig McLaughlin have to say. And it's not arrogance towards me or Padraig, it's actually to the people of Donegal. It's to the people tomorrow morning who will be still in chairs or in trolleys in the A&E in Letterkenny. It is the people who have received notification over the last number of whiles that their treatment has been postponed once again. It is the people that are wondering, will they ever get that appointment?
The government is being urged to intervene and prevent strike action in Tusla escalating. Admin and clerical staff at the Child and Family Agency are starting a work to rule action today in a dispute over job evaluation schemes. The scheme would ensure employees are not forced to take on work outside of their level when other staff leave. Ford's spokesperson Niall Shanahan says they'll be forced to escalate their action if the issue isn't resolved.
FORSA members in TUSLA who are in clerical and administrative roles, they've been instructed not to carry out the work of other colleagues in their absence, not to undertake work in respect of any vacant post or work associated with the TUSLA reform programme. It really is regrettable that the union has had to take industrial action. It could have been avoided.
Members of the jury for Letterkenny Courthouse have been told they're no longer required to be in attendance. The notice stands for today and for the rest of the week. The courthouse has apologised for any inconvenience caused. It's been a busy period for the all-weather Aaronmore RNLI volunteer crew as they've responded to 3 medical evacuations in the last 4 days. On Friday, Monday and just yesterday, patients requiring medical assessment were transported by lifeboat to Burton Port, where they were then met by an ambulance for further transfer to Letterkenny University Hospital. In a statement, Aaronmore RNLI Coxswain and Jimmy Early said the crews are glad to be able to assist the community with this vital service. The DAA is warning a number of scams on Facebook, claiming that some lost luggage is for sale. A number of accounts have appeared online. Stephanie Rowan reports.
One of these very realistic accounts on Facebook claims that every 3 months the warehouse at Dublin Airport overflows and they have to sell luggage they can't return. It claims the bag and all its contents are only €2. It even has plenty of comments underneath with apparent happy customers and some pretend questions from potential buyers. But the DAA says there's no such thing as lost luggage sales and is urging people not to engage with these accounts. It says the accounts have no association with Dublin Airport and is asking people to report them to Meta.
Looking to the weather, it is now clearing from the mist and fog that was in place this morning. There will be spells of hazy sunshine, and that will occur through into the afternoon. Highs of 10 to 12 degrees in moderate to fresh southeasterly winds. That's all for now. The next news update is at 11 o'clock. In the meantime, keep up to date with all the latest local news on our website, highlandradio.com. From myself and the news team, good morning. The obituary notices this Wednesday morning, October 25th. The death has taken place of Mick Leach, Fortwell Apartments, Lower Main Street, Letterkenny, and formerly of Ballivor, County Meath. Removal from the Eternal Light Chapel of Rest, Carnamugga Mountain Top, Letterkenny today at 3 o'clock, going to JJ McNamee's home at 32 The Cottages, Drumkeen. Funeral from there tomorrow at 10:30, going to St Patrick's Church, Drumkeen for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass. Interment will be in Ballivor Cemetery, County Meath, with date and time to be confirmed. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice. The death has taken place of Paddy McLaughlin Davy, Lemma Tudder, Glengad. Paddy's remains are reposing at his home. Funeral Mass will take place this morning at 11 a.m. in St Patrick's Church, Ohaclay, Malin, followed by burial in St Mary's Graveyard, Lag, Malin. Family flowers only. Donations, if desired, to the National Ambulance Service, care of any family member. The death has occurred of William Willie Bradley, 52 Dr McGinley Villas, Letterkenny, reposing at his late residence. Funeral Mass this morning at 11 o'clock in St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, with burial afterwards in Newlex Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Family time before the funeral this morning. Family flowers only. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of Con McDade Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Joanna Given, Hillhead, Ardra. Remains are reposing at her home today from 1 o'clock until 10 o'clock. Funeral Mass at 12 noon tomorrow in the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, followed by private cremation. House private, please, from 10 p.m. to 1 p.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Poor Farmers Association, care of Derek McCabe, Funeral Director, or any family member. The death has taken place of Sister Maureen Boyce, Holy Faith Sisters, late of Downings, Donegal. California and Ireland. Reposing in Holy Faith Convent, Glasnevin this afternoon from 3 o'clock, followed by removal to the convent chapel at 4:30. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11:30, followed by burial in the convent cemetery. The death has taken place of Neil Doherty, Thornhill, Sligo, and formerly of Buncrana, County Donegal. The Mass of the Resurrection will be celebrated this morning at 11:30 in the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception, Sligo. Funeral Mass will be live streamed via sligocathedral.ie. Burial will follow in St Patrick's Cemetery, Scarden, Strandhill Road, Sligo. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu if desired to Northwest Hospice. For family information and for more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Whether you're adventuring, salsa dancing, or you just popped out for some milk, you're not always home. With An Post, that's not a problem. You can set up a safe spot for us to put your deliveries when you're not in, or rearrange delivery to your local post office. And if something's not right, you can quickly return it with a collection from your door or drop at your local post office. Online shopping, made easy with An Post. An Post, for your world.
You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Now, I just want to make a clarification to one of our obituary notices, if that's okay. The death has occurred in the Donegal Hospice of Willie Bradley, 52, Dr. McGinley, visitor Villas, Letterkenny. Remains reposing at his late residence from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. today, Tuesday. So, sorry, was yesterday, but also today, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Rosary tonight at 9 p.m. Now, funeral mass is tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. in St. Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, with burial afterwards in New Lech Cemetery. So that's the death has occurred at the Donegal Hospice of William Bradley, 52, Dr. McGinley, Villers. Remains reposing at his residence today from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Rosary tonight at 9 p.m. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St. Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, with burial afterwards in New Lech Cemetery. More details on the obituary notices on our website, highlandradio.com. Now, to some of your comments, I work 9 to 5, Greg, so to avoid all the traffic stress, I'm sure to be in town for 8 a.m. I don't leave until 7 p.m. Right, okay, so you're effectively an extra 3 hours in town every day? Okay, wow. Greg, the problem I see at the Polestar is that the lights change immediately red as you're going around. No warning amber light to alert you they're about to change. I had to stop yesterday at a red light and the person behind me blew me out of it. And although the Polestar lights were off at 7 a.m. this morning, but were working at 6 a.m, so something may have happened. But traffic as bad as ever seen going into town this morning. Half an hour it was taking people to get from the back of the traffic up Lurgy Brack through the traffic lights this morning at rush time. Greg, the Ramelton Road into town is just horrendous. We don't have very many options to get into town apart from Woodlands or Mountaintop, which is also becoming busy too, indeed. And everyone's trying to find their own little route, but eventually everyone gets stuck behind the bottleneck. I'd love to know who designed the roads out past the Polestar. Such a waste of money. Even the dogs on the street knew what happened, what needed to happen out there. Extra lanes to widen what was already a bottleneck into the town. That would have solved all traffic congestion entering or leaving the town, and puts me in. Reminds me of a gentleman who rang the show as the works were ongoing, and I think he got married in the late 70s, and he was late for his wedding. Why? because he got stuck on the 4 lanes on his way to the wedding in the 70s. Good morning, Greg. Well, that was €15 million well spent. Cycle lanes out to the Clanree that will never be used. They could have been extra lanes that would have eased traffic congestion there. But you see, there's no point having extra lanes coming into a bottleneck. It's the roundabout that's the bottleneck. So you could have 10 lanes, but there'd just be 10 lanes of shorter traffic jams with the same amount of cars in them. The bottom line is the planning authority has failed the country as they've allowed too much development in Letterkenny town, and they do not have the space now to put in enough road space to allow all to safely travel in and out. Where is the plan? Did they make provision for emergency services to travel at peak traffic times? Another, hi Greg, after 2 years construction and millions of euro, the road is no different for the motorists. The only difference is the bike lane and footpath. Should have left it the way it was and put the money towards a new bridge. Well, in fairness, it was about safety. There was an awful lot of instances on that road. The centre concrete structure was put up there for safety reasons as well, and the roads are, I mean, they're designed to be narrow often to slow traffic down. So in terms of why that work was done, much of it was to do with safety. That's why there's a reduced speed limit, and not necessarily, it was never going to speed up traffic through the town because it all still has to go through the roundabout. The only solution for traffic in Letterkenny is to build a bridge from the loch side of Remountain to Newton, which would cut out all the traffic coming from West Donegal. This is currently coming through Letterkenny. Okay, right. Let us take a break for the bingo numbers and ads, and we'll be back with more in just a couple of minutes.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 25th of October. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S13. It's game number 43. The numbers are 25, 43, 63, 40, 72, 14, 37, 41, 85, and finally 83. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Easy Living Furniture's Oktoberfest sale has been extended but must end Sunday. Absolutely everything reduced, including sofas, dining, bedroom and mattresses. Final reductions for the last few days while stocks last. And remember, there's 0% interest-free finance available, so the decision is easy. Visit Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park. Oktoberfest sale must end Sunday.
In our communities, we all look out for each other. If someone needs help, we lend a hand. When it comes to fire safety, we make sure our own homes are safe. But we should also look in on vulnerable or elderly neighbours to make sure they are safe too. It could save a life. Stop fire by testing smoke alarms regularly, look for obvious dangers, and have an escape route planned. Keeping our communities safe. Learn more fire safety tips at fireireland.ie. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
With only a few paydays to go until Christmas, discover a new way of shopping this year at McElhenny's. The McElhenny's Layaway Club is perfect if you want to pay in for your favourite products or gifts. Available in-store and over the phone. Spread the cost of Christmas with McElhenny's.
Prepare for the merriest time of the year at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. Plan your unforgettable Christmas party now with fantastic food and festive fun this December. Sister Sarah's are proud sponsors of today's show.
And we are joined on the programme now by Sheena Dunn, sleep expert and founder of Siest Sleep. Good morning to you, Sheena. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You look like you had your 8 hours.
I do sleep well, but look, I don't always sleep well. It's one of the questions I'm most asked, actually.
Yeah.
I just want to say before I start, huge congratulations to Donegal on the Lonely Planet.
Yes, we haven't got to that yet,
amazing.
but yeah, it's a fantastic achievement. Thanks very much for that, Sheena. Right, so, many of us struggle with our sleep, and when the clocks go forward or back, it's always the convo, will we get an extra hour in bed or blah, 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 what that might mean. But for all of us, or many of us at the very least, it does throw our bodies out of sync a little bit. Doesn't take some time for quite a few of us to adjust, Sheena.
Yeah, I think that the clock change is one of those moments where you realise, oh, actually an hour does have a big impact on my sleep. I think so many people are suffering from poor sleep. There really is a huge problem in Ireland at the moment with people powering on, basically. And so this hour, I think people can say, oh, that won't really impact me, but it actually does. What's happening at the weekend is we're moving from daylight saving back to standard time. So at 2:00 in the morning on Sunday night, the clocks will go back to 1:00 in the morning. And I think the reality is most people won't even notice it because now all of our clocks update automatically. So it could pass you by, but then you'll wonder why for the next sort of week or two, either your children or yourself, you'll just struggle to wake up at the same time you normally do and feel tired at the same time that you normally do. And that's your body just recalibrating.
And before we talk about, how we can help with that recalibration process, I mean, where you live, it's different. People have different experiences, obviously, with sun exposure, how dark it is, how bright it is at any given time of the year. So in Ireland, our experience might be different to someone living in Brussels, for an example.
Yeah, absolutely. So the time the sun sets has an impact on when you feel tired, because your sleep-wake cycle is one of the things that helps sort of keep track of get that into rhythm is sunlight. So the later sunsets in the summer, for example, in Ireland, what that can mean is people will stay up a little later. Now, what I love asking in my business, and I love asking just, okay, why? So why does that matter? So say you're going to bed on average about 20 minutes later if you live in the West, which we do. And that means then, okay, so you're going to bed a bit later. Why does that matter? The reality is you have to get up at a certain time, either for school or for work. So society requires you to be up at a certain time. So then it's really the compounding effect of always having a little less sleep. So it's the consistency of always having less sleep. That's what impacts. Like a night or two, you might feel a little bit snappier or a little bit like you might reach for the wrong foods if you don't sleep well one night. But it's consistently doing that over time can have a societal impact.
Yeah, because the morning time, the trigger, the morning appointment, whatever it might be, with the start of work or school or whatever, that's static. But it's the night time is the variable. And we go to bed 20 minutes later than those further east.
So obviously everyone is a little bit different.
Of course, but averages.
Yeah. But if the sun is out, like you want to be out, you want to enjoy it. And we have quite a dark winter because of these clock changes. We actually end up with darker evenings in the winter as a result. So what sleep experts sort of worldwide are currently asking for is that we have more consistency in our clocks, and we follow the seasons more instead of these two spikes in spring and in autumn. And the autumn fall back actually won't affect you physically as much at all. So a lot of people will feel even refreshed from it. The real impact is in spring when the clocks spring forward. So there's an average of about 40 minutes less sleep people get, and just that short amount of time, it seems crazy if you haven't read the research, but that short amount of time can impact heart attacks, car crashes, people's mental health. So that's what we're trying to do in the sleep world, is to encourage no more changes, but to stick at standard time, which is what we're moving into this weekend.
The problem is we're coupled with Britain and Northern Ireland, really, and the resistance will come from the fact that we could have a situation where it's 8 o'clock in Lifford and 9 o'clock in Strabane. But I mean, you say we perhaps maybe should not necessarily talk about commerce and convenience and look at health and the health implications.
Yeah, well, the sleep professionals in the UK feel the same. So it's they would be trying to keep to standard time as well. So Ireland obviously will have discussions around alignment with our big.
I've never heard anyone in life speaking passionately about its retention. Do you know, you hear, oh, it's for farmers or it's for schools. Or I've never really heard anyone speak with any, conviction to say we really need to retain this practice of ours. I noticed in your article one of the things you said were quite interesting. There's a big challenge at the moment of people waking up at 5 a.m. Now, is that in just reference to a wake up in the middle of the night and then going back to sleep?
So my business is CS Sleep, and we're conducting a national survey. And thanks for referencing the article in The Independent of Barbara. Thank you. So we're doing a national survey at the moment, which is on our website. And we have, I think, about 400 or 500 responses so far. But also I've been running a sleep business for the last 3 years. So my knowledge of people's sleep in Ireland would be high. And waking up at 5 a.m. is a type of insomnia. And what is happening is people are waking up and then they're finding new habits to really encourage them to stay awake at that time. So your body can create a new habit so quickly.
The temptation to grab the phone is so strong.
Yeah, especially with sleep. So I think the challenge for this weekend for those people is if you're naturally waking up at 5 a.m., it's going to be 4 for a little while until your body resets. So they call it social jet lag. It's like the difference between when you wake up and when you need to wake up for society.
I find myself I go through periods, that's why I jumped out. I go through maybe a week or two where I wake up at 5, almost on the button. And then it ceases then. What is there a trigger for that in people, this type of insomnia?
So you have sleep cycles going through the night. So you have 4 or 5 sleep cycles. And I think anyone with small children really knows this.
Yeah, I look at the monitor and it's amazing. You do see, like I have Hudson's sleep cycles up until such time as I'm asleep, down to a T. I know exactly, I don't know the words for it and all, but you could almost know when he's about to start tossing and turning after appearing to not move at all for a couple of hours.
Yes, well, the same happens with adults. We just sort of forget about that when we're adults and don't give ourselves a little bit of leeway or a bit more understanding on it. So what's happening is your sleep is, the chances are you can be woken up more at that time, but then it's what you do at that time is important. So if you use that time to get up and exercise, your body is naturally then going to go, okay, wake up time. This is the time for me to get up. And you can create then that habit afterwards. What isn't great is when people don't want to be awake at that time, and they need to try and reset their circadian rhythm, it's called. So they need to try and figure out how they can get the sleep they need just in a time that works for them. Because a lot of people find they worry a lot more if they're awake at 5 a.m. because there's no other humans around
I mean, whether I got my ability to go back to sleep at that time is based purely on my level of contentment. If I feel content and my mind is relaxed, I will probably nod straight off. Or I know if I'm not, if my mind's racing, that's it. What's your views then on napping?
So my business is called Siest Sleep. So a lot of people will know the word siesta, which means nap. So I'm a huge fan of naps. And the reason is...
That's what I want to hear. Sleeping in our house is like a sin.
Pardon?
Sleeping in our house is like a sin, and it was like that too. And it was like, oh, did you have a sleep? No. You know what I mean? I wasn't asleep. I was resting my eyes. But anyway, sorry, I digress. Sheena, go ahead.
There's more and more research coming through on naps. And I've been fortunate to study insomnia and circadian rhythms at the University of Oxford over the last few years. And the research on naps is growing, but one thing I always think about when I think of research is usually the research is coming from animal studies. Now, the reality is you can't say to a mouse, I need you to nap, right? I need you to nap now. You can't do it. So as a result of that, there isn't a huge amount of research about napping. And I know that I just like to follow through maybe why isn't there the research, and that would be one of the reasons. But then I think the reality. So napping, people's lives are really complicated and messy and stressful at the moment. And one of the most powerful things about a nap is, first of all, it helps you shut down your whole body. So you're not looking at your phone, your mind isn't whizzing and whirring, and you're taking that moment out. Even 5 minutes. So they call it a nano nap. 5 minutes lying there, lie on your bed, lie on the couch, and just close your eyes. And I think it can be really refreshing for you because you're just allowing yourself to recalibrate. I think the important thing is to not let it move into then a full-on sleep, only because you won't feel tired enough in the evening again.
Yeah, and then as you say, routines, it just becomes established sleep pattern and broken into two effectively. So Sheena, just finally then, for people who will feel a bit discombobulated then after the clocks fall back, I'm just waiting for the Cher memes now on Facebook, but anyway, what any advice to sort of try and limit as much as possible the disturbance to ourselves?
Yeah, well, I would emphasize again that this change can often be quite a refreshing time for people, so they can feel more energized. So it's a good thing. With small children, we love Baobab Sleep. They're a great consultancy in Ireland, and they give really specific timing changes. So it's just to move your clock really from today 15 minutes forward. So move your children's naps, their meal times, their bedtimes, their wake up times, 15 minutes, because it's Wednesday now. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the hour then when it goes back, you've already taken into account of it. So when I set up the business and we invented these sort of weighted sleep products, it's because we know that most people, when they're tired, can't follow routine and they can't change habits. And so we know the reality is most people will wake up on Sunday and go, why are they waking up at 5 a.m? Yes. The clock's changed. So just know that.
And what is that you're holding, Sheena? What is that sleep product?
This is a weighted sleep product. It's one of the first sleep products that doesn't look medical. So it looks like a beautiful cushion, but it's weighted, it's research backed, it's patented. And we actually do a lot of customers in Donegal. So hi. We have been selling these for the last 3 years on siestsleep.com. They're guaranteed Irish, but most sleep products look, or, to help your knees, like pre and post knee surgery, they look like medical products. And I wanted something that makes people feel really good, because if you like something, you'll use it more and it'll help you more as well.
Even from an early age, you can see the benefit in babies and young children. The a little bit of weight on them helps them sleep a little bit better. There are products. I'm not suggesting you put anything on babies, but you know what I mean.
5+, age 5+.
Exactly. Okay, listen, fascinating stuff. Thank you very much indeed. I really appreciate it. Oh, by the way, there is an article from Sheena. It's in the Independent. You can get it online. Is it in today's paper or yesterday's paper? Or which paper?
In Monday's paper,
Monday's paper, okay. So if you still have a copy of that, read through that, and it's available online as well, of course. And your website for Siest Sleep, Sheena?
It's Siest, SIEST, sleep.com. And we are, we're selling all across Europe, and there's a lot of great reviews on there. You can have a read yourself. And if anyone has any sleep questions, obviously me and my team can help.
All right. Thanks very much indeed. Take care of yourself. Sheena Dunn there. Sleep tight. 086 60 25 000 WhatsApps and texts.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Looking for the perfect Christmas party venue? Join us at Sister Sarah's for a mouth-watering Christmas party menu. Now available to book on 912238. Sister Sarah's, proud sponsors of today's show.
Go full Lidl this Halloween and fill your trolley without a nightmare price. Get all the treats without the tricks. Monkey nuts, 2 packs for €4. Carve costs on Irish pumpkins, prices from 99¢. And get 2 for €3 on scary jelly mix. Deadly. Go on, have a Halloween without compromise. Go full Lidl today.
Níl éon rud níos láidre ná an dáibh idir hiblíní, na cóchuimh ní ile sin, na hédí córínse, ardan córínse, commartas áran uirfíse. Rodí idir hiblíní tasat. Go dtí go near duine agaí gur féidir le go ná éilí ar bith fearas gás a Iesu, agus bristar an dáibh go jo. Bhí mar leag sa gás sin nach rá. Ní rá. Go má. Úsáid sútálaí gáisiún chlórithe I gúnlaí, nó de tá gach rud a chur am mhail. Amsí sútálaí ag rgi.ie.
From the morning routines to cozy family moments, Grant has been bringing comfort to homes for over 45 years. With our biofuel-compatible condensing boilers, heat pumps and underfloor heating, you can trust Grant to heat your home now and into the future. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.ie.
Christmas shopping just got easier with Irwin Expert Electrical's layaway service now open. Secure those must-have gifts from Ninja, Apple, Samsung, LG, Dyson or Sage with just a deposit. Simply choose items you love and pay for them in convenient installments that suit your budget. No stress, no rush. Gift smarter with Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
At Evolve, we're all about connecting people. Our network is the newest in Northern Ireland and we're the first to confirm biomethane injection into the grid. Right now, you could reduce your carbon footprint when switching from an old inefficient oil boiler to a new gas system. You can also enjoy instant heat and hot water on demand. Take control of your energy costs with a pay-as-you-go function from as little as £5. Upgrade your heating today by visiting evolvenetwork.co.uk.
Exciting news from Nissan at iMotors, introducing our special 2-for-1 offers for a limited time. Purchase any 2-for-1 Nissan, including the Duke Petrol and Hybrid, the Qashqai e-Power Hybrid and the X-Trail e-Power Hybrid, and receive a complimentary 2025 Nissan at no extra cost. It's a 2-for-1 deal you don't want to miss. Or you can choose a €2,000 bumper trade-in offer. Also 3.9% finance options or 0% finance for the Nissan Leaf, our eco-friendly electric vehicle. Don't miss out. Visit iMotors today in Letterkenny and Malin.
Now, I flagged on the show yesterday that we were working on another story that is in the realms of health, and it's off the back of the retirement of the dermatologist from Letterkenny University Hospital. No replacement, and the alternative being people going to Sligo for that treatment. But the dermatologist there, the consultant dermatologist there, already has a huge workload. So this is going to affect quite a few of you out there who are engaging with dermatological services at Letterkenny University Hospital. As I say, we didn't want to go with it until such time as we had some further information. Now, what we have learned is that all GPs in Donegal now have been issued a letter from the dermatologist in Sligo. And he's advising them of the following. I wish to appraise you of the state of the dermatology service in the Northwest. You'll be aware that Dr. Podmore, dermatologist, is retiring. The hospital, and in fact, I believe Dr. Podmore actually extended her service to facilitate as much as is possible before finally retiring. The hospital manager in Letterkenny, shall I read this verbatim? Yeah, because okay, well, I have to. This is what a consultant dermatologist has sent out to a lot of people. The hospital manager in Letterkenny did not think it worthwhile to let me know of the retirement. I found out indirectly. Despite writing to him, as yet, I've had no contact despite new patient referrals being redirected to me. Everyone knew this was coming, but what, if any, planning have management done in preparation for it? Delivering a dermatology service to the Northwest in Cialtas is Cialtas' responsibility, not mine. Delayed diagnosis impacting melanoma survival, acne teenagers, scarred, eczema, psoriasis patients, lives destroyed because of an inability to gain access to care rests on management's shoulders. Donegal patients already make treatment decisions based on distance to travel. So dermatology, as you heard from the consultant himself, diagnoses impacting melanoma survival, which is life. That's a potentially life-threatening condition. Acne, teenagers scarred, and so on. For years, dermatology in the Northwest has been ignored, neglected, and quite frankly dismantled by management both locally and by Cialtas centrally, whereas there has been significant expansion in other regions. From the non-appointment by management of an excellent dermatologist in 2014, despite funding being in place, to Galway University Hospital being allowed to withdraw dermatology services from Roscommon and Ballina with no consideration of the adverse impact on my service in the Northwest. I have less nursing hours now than when I started 20 years ago. I've lost half my secretarial office space. I can't get adequate secretarial support, and I had no secretary in Sligo for an entire month last October. I can't even get an examination light installed to properly examine patients after 2 years trying. All this in the context of being single-handed with thousands of patients. This is the dermatologist in Sligo. Thousands of patients awaiting their first appointment. A wait time of over 4 years. 4,000 patients. Only urgent cases are coming off that list. This has made recruitment into the region very difficult. Today, I have triaged over 100 new GP dermatological referrals onto the Letterkenny waiting list alone. To date, there has been no instruction from Sealta management what to do with Dr. Podmore's return patients, new patients, patients that require skin cancer follow-up, monitoring of drug treatments and repeat prescriptions, many of which can only be written by a consultant. It is simply not possible for me to absorb Dr. Podmore's patients. What's happening to dermatology in Letterkenny University Hospital today will soon be dermatology in Sligo University Hospital tomorrow. Ultimately, Galway University Hospital will have to care for all dermatology in the Northwest in the not too distant future unless something happens. This is the reality that now needs planning. At present, there is no assistance coming from GUH despite their significant consultant and NCHD expansion. Again, this is a failure of management, he says. I hope those consultants who've signed the new contract in GUH realise that they may be asked to work outside of the usual locations, i.e. work in Sligo. So we got handed numerous versions of this. Of this. So this, by the way, those were the comments from a consultant dermatologist in the Northwest. Simply can't take on the workload that may now come their way because of the dermatologist in Letterkenny University Hospital retiring. A number of questions. How long was this retirement known of? Quite some time. What efforts were done to replace Dr. Podmore? What's going to happen now to return patients? What impact might this have on cancer diagnosis? What impact might this have on people with skin conditions that's going to be of severe consequence in terms of their physical and mental health? Again, unfortunately, to be bringing you another negative news story in terms of health. But as I say, it's something we've been working on, and it's something we'll continue to work on. But I think by any measure, another very strongly worded letter there from a consultant working in the Northwest. Kathy Donaghy is one of the authors in the Lonely Planet Guide and joins us now. Hi, Kathy. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Great to have you on board. Right, Donegal has ranked the only destination in Ireland as the 4th best region in the world to visit. What an amazing thing for us here.
Yeah, it's kind of incredible, Greg. I mean, I think that there has been, I suppose, a lot of interest in Donegal has been building. I know Donegal Tourism have been doing a lot of work on this too. I have been sort of quietly working on this for a while and was sworn to secrecy because Lonely Planet wanted to sort of, I suppose they want to have a lot of momentum behind this and keep it a secret so that when they do launch it to the world, there is a sort of a wow factor about it. And I guess there's no doubt about it. When Lonely Planet includes a destination in their guide and their guide for 2024, the first actual published guide since sort of normal travel resumed again, Greg. So I guess you have to see that there is a wow factor about that because this is aimed at a global audience, not just a national audience. This book is also, it's sort of going to be like a keepsake book, you know what I mean? So I think it's always on the bestseller list to have Donegal in there, and it looks so beautiful. I mean, obviously I've written the words and talked about this place that is in my heart 100%, but there are some glorious images in there. And
so, yeah, Kathy, just to understand the process, is it external individuals then that would make this determination, and then they'd contact someone like yourself and say, we have decided through our investigations that we want to rank Donegal where it is? You know, can you put it into words what it has to offer? Is that your role in this? And if it is, what a responsible task for you, Kathy.
Yeah, I'll take you back a bit there, Greg. This begins where Lonely Planet sends out to their travel writers and publishers and partners all over the world, and they ask them for recommendations across the planet, literally, for the best experiences, the best place. What do they think is going to be trending and really hot for 2024? Then those results are sort of pulled into Lonely Planet's best in travel team, and they whittle that down, and that list gets whittled down. And this year what they did was they wanted to ask a local, essentially, to write this. Okay, so they wanted to get feet on the ground, someone who lives and breathes and knows these places that they're talking about. So that's where I came in, and I did find this a really daunting task. Like, I write for a living, and talk about Donegal, whittle that down to like less than 1,000 words. I thought, where do I begin? Like, the county is vast. There's so many beautiful places that I would love to mention. But you've got to try and for a global audience, you're trying to think of, the top things, but also encapsulate the heart and soul of the place. So yes, it was very daunting. And I walked away from the computer more than once saying, I can't do this. This is too big, because I feel this so strongly. I want to do a really good job on this. This is so close to literally my heart,
Our recognition as the coolest place on the Pallants in 2017, I always struggle to sort of articulate that and what that meant. And I don't know, maybe it resonated better around the world. I think maybe it's not, I don't know, but it feels more more important or marketable that we are the only destination in Ireland and the fourth best region in the world to visit. Do you know what I mean? So I think it sort of blows the audience out a little bit wider compared to the coolest moniker.
That's a good point, Greg, because I think the coolest place on the planet, I don't know if Donegal people really think of themselves as cool. We sort of go, this is just what we do.
But cool is open to interpretation.
Maybe that's what, to outsiders, I think they probably think, they're really cool, because we're quite laid back. And I know that I was on a film set recently, and there were quite big stars on it. And what they said, one thing they said about Donegal is we kind of get left alone. We're treated like the locals, but like if you want to sit and have your pint at the bar, you are left alone. I think maybe that's cool. That's the cool thing. But yes, this is a very specific drilling down by like a travel expert, globally, like Lonely Planet, into regions around the world. And like Donegal's in there with Tuscany and Montana, two places I've visited, and like, to be included with regions like this in the world, which are, glorious, like Big Sky country and beautiful destinations like this. I do think it drills down into, a real global audience with a reach there. That saying we're cool is wonderful, but this is why. And this is, they're talking about our purely wild with a big heart and things like that. It doesn't get much better, Greg.
Yeah, and now too, obviously, is to build on this, and marketing for the next year really kicks in and comes into play, and to capitalise as much as we can on this, Kathy.
I think that's true. Greg. And there are lots of brilliant people on the ground, working away, and maybe they feel like they've been working away, and we don't get the visitor numbers that other counties might. So I think this is time for them to really not sit back on their laurels and rest, but hopefully you build it and they'll come. And you've seen people with tourism offerings all over this county, like, I'm thinking of Inish Adventures in Moville, like Hugh Hunter Eco Atlantic Adventures over near Lochswilly, and people like that doing great things, like off the beaten track cycling in Glenveigh. There's just amazing people doing amazing things. So this is lifting the lid, and hopefully when people come to Donegal, they'll see it. But, obviously, and Lonely Planet, what their travel experts, why they chose Donegal, what the USP was of Donegal is, our outdoors. It's a wow in itself. It does all the talking for itself.
Purely wild with a big heart.
Exactly. Wild with a big heart. And I think, that's what people get when they come here. You know that you could be the only person on a big, expansive beach. I take myself off to Culgaff Beach or Kinnigo Bay on a Monday morning, and I might be the only person there walking. Where in the world are you going to find that,
Yeah, it's remarkable too. And people are wild, like, how is this place not got 4,000 people sitting on it or something? You do see those posts on social media from people visiting the area, because you get this sense that you've discovered it as well, which I think sells the experience. And also too, I think really what we need to do with this as well, Kathy, is, yes, of course, maximise our existing markets, but because of the sort of global brand that is that we're featured in here, is actually, forge new markets as much as we can as well.
And I think that there's a lot of efforts to do that. We can see, Donegal Tourism, Donegal County Council, and Sean Tourism really making big efforts, I think, to do that, and being very imaginative in the way that they're doing that. I think one thing Lonely Planet was big on was, tourism and kind of in terms of sustainability in tourism. And they also looked at, you made the point there that we're not over touristed, and I think that was a very attractive thing. That they found that some regions might be a bit jaded, but Donegal is certainly not. You do have that sense of why come, because travelers want to feel like they're discovering something new.
And I think that's down to us too. I think that's down to us that people can come here and meander around the place and be left alone. If you go to the strip in Albufeira, it's going to be music coming out of every bar, people offering you free shots to come in, cheap drink, blah, blah, blah. But what our offering is go and explore. If you want us to engage you, we will. We'll give you great food. We'll give you great drink. We'll sit beside you in a bar and have great conversation. But if you want to be left alone, you're left alone too, and you can explore. You know what I mean? We let people genuinely sort of, I think, explore, and it's a sort of soft, tough touch tourism for the most part, and I presume that's what makes it so attractive.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Greg. And I take this back sometimes, like my own experiences of living here. You'll go to the beach and you might be out and you might be walking, and you'll always get the hand raised to wave at you. And if you approach someone to talk, everyone's willing to chat, but you are left on your own. People are. And I think when people come here, they can totally engage with local people. They can dip in and out as much as they want. And they can, go for the tourism products. They can go for the busy bar, but they can also go for the sunrise hike up Errigal, or somewhere where, and Lonely Planet, I think, named that as one of their best hikes in the world. And I got the chance only a few weeks ago, I joined the Donegal Camino, and I did that sunrise hike at the top of Errigal, and we got the most perfect day with the most perfect guides. And as the sun rose and Dunlewy Lake spread out before me, I honestly, you feel like you're in heaven.
It's breathtaking.
Like, it is incredible. It was absolutely
and
breathtaking.
it's some of the casual, accidental marketing that goes on too. I mean, obviously, during the summer, Gabriel Byrne, Liam Neeson was about, but even it kind of probably slipped under the radar a little bit. Last month, there's a guy in UFC, Johnny Walker, is huge on social media. He's a great character. But he just was casually up and downings, and he was on his TikTok and his Instagram, and it looked beautiful, and he spanned around, and as I say, the scenery looked absolutely wonderful. But that reach that he's getting, we pay influencers to try and attract people here, but I think some of that organic, natural stuff is what really, really works. And literally hundreds of thousands of eyes were on that, and who's to say what impact that might have? It's lots of little different things that seem to be building us towards this. And the reason I mention that randomly is because he's huge amongst teenagers, young men, a different demographic that often, if you look at what we try and target, it's not often those categories, maybe because they're not big spenders, I don't know. But anyway, my wider point being is that sort of natural sort of advertisement, I think, is invaluable. And it sort of works with the Love Donegal and everything else that's going on, Kathy.
Yeah, I think you're right, Greg. And sometimes these things can be a kind of a slow burn, like a build. So what you find happening is like people are working away behind the scenes in the tourism business, and influencers and people like me who get to write at a national level about Donegal and my experiences of living here. All of these things combine, I suppose. And then you get a moment, and then that moment sort of reaches its crescendo when you have, like a day like today, when Lonely Planet comes out and reveals its best in travel for 2024, and Donegal is in that list, which is just, you couldn't buy that kind of, and it's totally, it's not like no one's paying for this. No one is. It's not. This is. A guide of experts naming Donegal.
People sometimes to measure their own success, they need measures, which is often paying influencers. But some of our greatest advocates for this county are the likes of yourself, with your social media posts and the writing work that you do, of mutual friend Noel Cunningham, of course, even Daniel O'Donnell, Daniel O'Donnell, and some, the Brennans, right across the spectrum, that do it for the love of it. They do it because they love this county, and it's that, and I think that has built something here, as well as having Star Wars here and all the other little different factors that are coming. And I've noticed myself, lots of different faces. Donegal Town, still loads of tourists there and loads of different accents, and the season is extending. And hopefully the Lonely Planet and the words that you're responsible for within it will further boost that our profile on the world stage. No doubt, Kathy.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, it's been a great joy for me. I mean, Donegal is in my heart, but also, to write for Lonely Planet, I was one of these travel geeks, as a younger person before my children came along, and my wanderlust got definitely stopped a bit.
Before they ruined it all, like they do for us all.
Yeah.
And then I think I've got mine. Yes, I've nearly got mine to adulthood. What do I do? I've another toddler, so that's me written off for another 20 years. But anyway, I'm just venting, Kathy. Hey, you'll be babysitting grandchildren soon. Don't worry about it. Don't get any notions.
Yeah, I think you're right. But just to say, Greg, like for me, I grew up and I, when I traveled a lot as a younger woman, the first thing I did, when I was planning a trip with Richard, my husband, I went out, bought the Lonely Planet guide in the days sort of pre-internet, and we literally, that went in the hiking bag, and it came all over the world. And as I talk to you, there is a spine of Lonely Planet guides in my bookshelf.
Wow.
And for me to be, as a writer, to contribute to an iconic guide like this is really
it's like a full circle moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it actually is. And to write about Donegal, so you know what, this is a pinch me moment for me as well.
There's boxes being ticked left, right and centre. Kathy, listen, 100%. Thanks so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. A caller says, please stop advertising our beautiful county. We'll be overcrowded and overwhelmed. Crowded beaches, busy roads, no parking, just stop. We've plenty of space to accommodate everyone, I think. 100%. All right. Take care, Kathy. Thanks for your time. As always, chat to you soon. Kathy Donaghy, one of the authors there in the Lonely Planet Guide. Donegal externally selected as the fourth best region, which is a huge honour. Back with more shortly. The weather actually coming up.
Make your Christmas party unforgettable at Sister Sarah's this December. Book now for the best Christmas party in town. See Facebook for menu and dates. Sister Sarah's are proud sponsors of today's show.
Order your new 241 car at Highland Motors Open Week. Choose from Citroën, Dacia and Renault. Choose from diesel, petrol, hybrid or full electric. Choose from hatchbacks right up to 7-seaters and from an amazing commercial range. Choose your new 241 this week at Highland Motors, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Are you building a new home? Building requirements state that you must install a radon barrier. At FF Radon Systems, we supply and professionally install the fully certified barrier. For more information, call Liam at FF Radon Systems on 086 833 2749.
The Mo is calling. For years, people around the world have been united by the power of the moustache. This Movember, unite to take on mental health, suicide, prostate and testicular cancers. Come together, grow together, raise funds, save lives. Change the face of men's health. Sign up at Movember.com.
This is an emergency appeal from UNICEF for children affected by the crisis in Gaza. Right now, hundreds of thousands of children are in extreme danger. They need medical supplies, shelter and clean water. UNICEF is on the ground in Gaza. Please donate now at unicef.ie. Thank you.
Renault. Exceed all your expectations. Renault Megane E-Tech 100% electric with 220 horsepower, up to 450 kilometres range and an electric bonus. Renault will match the €3,500 government grant when you buy a new Megane E-Tech 100% electric. So save €7,000 on your new electric Megane today. Visit your local dealer to find out more. T's and C's apply. See Renault.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
Okay, the weather forecast for today. Spells of hazy sunshine will occur through the morning and well into the afternoon. Rain, though, is likely during the evening or early night. Temperatures today, 10 to 12 degrees. Paul Gillespie is a spokesperson for the Donegal branch of Diabetes. Good morning to you, Paul. Thanks for your time today.
Good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
Right, now, you've been putting this conversation off for quite some time, but presumably today's the day that you feel it needs to be had. What's the situation?
Yeah, well, as you know, back early at the beginning of this year, we raised a concern about endocrinologists. One arrived, a second endocrinologist arrived to Letterkenny for adult care. He only stayed less than a month and left. But then there's now no endocrinologist in Letterkenny for close to 6 months. And I've been very patient over the last month because we were promised a meeting by Sean Murphy back since April, and he kept kicking the can down the road. But now, for the last month, we can get no information whatsoever from the hospital. I've just been on to the office this morning again. Keep saying Sean Murphy's going to ring us back. Sean Murphy's going to email us back. We're getting no interaction at all. And yet we have no endocrinologists, either adult or in paediatrics, in Letterkenny Hospital now whatsoever. So the crisis in Letterkenny seems to be down to, there's something seriously wrong with management, that they cannot attract staff, and then when they get staff, they cannot keep staff. But this also has to go right up the line to Steelcha. Like, why is Steelcha and the HSE allowing this to happen? Letterkenny has been run into the ground.
What's the consequences for the public in not having access to an endocrinologist? Endocrinologist, to beg your pardon.
Yeah. Well, type 1 diabetes is a critical illness, like it's a life-threatening disease. So you need to have a proactive care to make sure that your diabetes is kept under control, that you get to see an endocrinologist. Like the government guideline is that it should be seen a maximum of 6 months apart. At the minute in Letterkenny, it was 2 years of a gap before the endocrinologist left. So, and even like now, like one of the comments from the Sean Murphy's office is that they have a registrar with an interest in diabetes now trying to run some of the clinics. But where's the governance? The governance has to be from an endocrinologist, but Letterkenny don't have an endocrinologist. So they, like as you say, there's no pump therapy available in Letterkenny. Pump therapy is seen as the gold standard for type 1 diabetes care, and it's just not happening. It is not available in the Northwest.
Obviously, people need to be seen on a regular basis to see how they're faring with their medication, see if any adjustments need to be made, and so on and so forth. Obviously, any delays in that can affect other organs of the body, eyesight, and what have you. Like the consequences of not getting timely re-evaluations, if that's the right way of putting it, Paul, have serious consequences. Are people, if they can afford to go in private?
Very, very serious, and like one of the main issues is as well is your blood circulation and to your feet, and an awful lot of issues with feet problems, critical with eyes as well, and then it can go on to liver. So like it's serious long-term consequences. Like diabetes is one of the things that with good proactive care, then people's health can be maintained and they can stay out of hospital.
Well, Paul, I asked Tony Canavan I asked Paul about the endocrinologist, not Paul, but Tony Canavan. I asked him about the endocrinologist. I can't remember. I asked so many questions over 38 minutes. I can't remember all of the answers. But listen, we're going to dig a bit deeper on this as well. And those, unfortunately, who need to see a dermatologist are in the same boat. No endocrinologist, no dermatologist. I don't know what to say, Paul. It's okay.
I know, like they really are. Like, the management. I think we definitely need a huge change in management.
Well, maybe they're trying to. It seems most people, consultants, seem to think that it's not local management, that they're banging the head against a brick wall. But anyway, listen, Paul. Thank you for that. That's Paul Gillespie there. If you have a view on that, 086 60 25,000.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, 11 o'clock, let's get a news update, and we return to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The HSE have responded within the 1 week time frame to the first emergency interim measure proposed by the Special Needs Parents Network at a meeting in Letterkenny last week. 4 measures were put forward in total based on research conducted by the group, which consulted parents of children with additional needs, healthcare professionals and schools. Measure 1 will see a pathway for children in need of essential equipment from the HSE in the absence of therapies, including splints, walkers and communication devices. It has been revealed that a number of ambulances in Derry could not reach the scene of the emergency in Creasa last year because of a rule pertaining to visas. Paramedics born in a different country could not travel across the border because their visa had prohibited it. A Fine Gael Senator Emer Curry told the British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly about the Altnagelvin ambulances. Tensions were high in the Dáil last night after Health Minister Stephen Donnelly failed to be in attendance for the second time regarding the topical issue on the need for an external review at Letterkenny University Hospital. Sinn Féin deputies Patrick McLaughlin and Pierce Doherty deferred the issue last week after the minister didn't turn up or give any notice. Deputy Patrick McLaughlin says the minister needs to set a date to visit Letterkenny, something he told health professionals who wrote to him in the letter outlining their concerns that he would do. People are being warned about a number of fake Facebook accounts pretending to sell lost luggage at Dublin Airport. One of the accounts claims the warehouse at the airport needs to get rid of unclaimed luggage every few months. It says the bags and all its content will be sold for just €2. The DAA are warning people to not engage with the accounts and to alert Meta. And finally, it's been a busy period for the all-weather Ironmore RNLI volunteer crew as they have responded to 3 medical evacuation in the past 4 days. On Friday, Monday and just yesterday, patients requiring medical assessment were transported by lifeboat to Burton Port, where they were met by ambulances for further transfer to Letterkenny University Hospital. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back again with the next news update at 12 o'clock. In the meantime, keep up to date with all the latest on their website, highlandradio.com.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Donna Marie. We'll be back with more shortly.
Get ready for the most wonderful time of the year at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. Secure your preferred party night now with fantastic food and a festive atmosphere throughout December. Sister Sarah's, proud sponsors of today's show.
If you know the beauty and skincare product that suits you best, you'll find them at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. From moisturisers, cleansers and toners to day creams and night creams, McGee's have the top brands you know and love, like Lancôme, Clarins and La Roche-Posay. Also Elizabeth Arden, Vichy, Nukes and many more. All at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie, where the best costs less.
Businesses. Order your gift vouchers for Christmas now from BizPrint the Printers. Also personalised calendars, Christmas cards, diaries, draw tickets and much more at great prices from BizPrint, Port Road, Letterkenny. See bizprint.ie.
Who's your man? I don't know with the constant interruptions.
Wouldn't get them with Ireland's best broadband from Virgin Media.
I meant you. And it's gone.
We need Virgin Media super-fast, reliable broadband. 500 meg now, just €35 a month for 12 months.
Can I upgrade you too?
Switch today at virginmedia.ie or call in-store. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
Terms and conditions apply. See virginmedia.ie. Subject to availability. Ireland's best broadband awarded by Umlaut. See virginmedia.ie/proof.
Hyundai's big offers continue at Hyundai dealerships nationwide. Test drive the 2024 Hyundai range, including the all-new Kona, Ireland's best-selling car, the Tucson, and winners of World Car of the Year, the Ioniq 5 and the Ioniq 6. Avail of the big selection of offers when you book your Hyundai 241 model. Hyundai, a class apart.
Your local dealer is Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny. Call 91 22 600.
HSE Community Healthcare Cavan, Donegal, Leitrim, Monaghan, Sligo Children's Disability Network teams work to empower and support the children and families who use our services. Cavan, Donegal, Leitrim, Monaghan and Sligo are looking for newly qualified and experienced dietitians, occupational therapists, physiotherapists, psychologists, social workers and speech and language therapists to work as part of our teams. Be part of our team in your area. Be part of their lives. For more information and to apply, please email briege.byrne@hse.ie.
Since time immemorial, people all over Ireland have been settling for less at lunchtime. And every day, thousands of you make do with disappointing dishes and sad sandwiches. Well, that ends now. Introducing the Zinger Chicken Fillet More from KFC. More crunch from a crispy golden hash brown, more spice from a delicious zinger fillet, and more sauce from burger dressing and supercharger mayo, all packed into a tasty baguette.
If you're looking to renew your car insurance, we have some of the best.
Hang on a second. There's more to this ad. I forgot to mention the cheese. That's the limited edition Zinger Chicken Fillet More, a delicious baguette with a Zinger fillet, hash brown, cheese, burger dressing, and supercharger mayo, exclusively at KFC. And lettuce. It also has lettuce. Available till November 12th at participating restaurants only.
All right, welcome back to the 9 till noon show. A couple of things I want to mention. Firstly, my wife Elizabeth Moore in Creve Letterkenny. Happy birthday to you, Elizabeth, coming in from Willie and family. Due to last-minute cancellations, we at Highland Radio here have a single place available on our Lion King trip in Dublin. It leaves tomorrow, Thursday, so you don't have much notice, but such is the last-minute cancellation scenario. The trip includes, by the way, if you're interested, this is for tomorrow, all your transfers to and from, overnight stay at the City North Hotel on a B&B breakfast, a great ticket to the show, and a shopping trip to Dublin City Centre on Friday. Is this something that might interest you? Get in touch with us now on 07491 25000. We have a single place on our Lion King trip. It leaves tomorrow. All your transfers, your hotel stay, the City North Hotel, bed and breakfast as well, your ticket to the show, and a chance to go shopping in Dublin City Centre on Friday. Give Katie a ring, 07491 25000, if you think you might be interested, and we'll see if we can sort you out. Would your sleep specialist recommend AD lamp lights for the winter months for depression? SAD, seasonally adjusted disorder, isn't it? A lot of people say they work for them. If you use lamps for depression, have they worked for you? Let us know. Hi Greg, I was in Limerick on Tuesday. First time I went through Letterkenny since the traffic lights at the Polestar roundabout. The only real delay was there at it. It's in and out through all towns between Carrigot and Limerick City. Unbelievable. Okay, so they went from Carrigot to Limerick City and the only real delay they had was at the roundabout there. Okay, I get you. When you go for across the border procedure to Ballykelly Hospital, get all the paperwork from them. Then you're told to get a receipt from a shop to prove you were there. Is this a joke or what? Well, I'm told now, because we've been engaging with the Ombudsman on this for quite some time, that's now a thing of the past, that the HSE are giving a bit of latitude in relation to that. If that's not happening, please let us know, or let the Ombudsman's office know. They will back you on that one. There's a coffee morning and cake sale in aid of the Donegal Hospice taking place on Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's in the lecture hall below the Presbyterian Church on the main street in Letterkenny. On sleeping, my grandmother took her nap every day for 20 minutes and she lived to the ripe old age of 96, which is good to hear. Thank you for all your calls and comments. Keep them coming into us. Okay. There's a webinar taking place to mark Brain Tumour Awareness Week. Michael Farrell is Brain Tumour Ireland board member and former neuropathologist, and he joins us now. Good morning to you, Michael. Thanks for your time today.
Good morning, Greg, and thanks for having me on the show.
No, it's important. Now, it's from the 28th of October to the 4th of November, International Brain Tumour Awareness Week. And what is the focus of this week, and why is it important to have an awareness week for this area of health?
Thanks, Greg. Brain tumours are relatively uncommon. They are not as well publicised in sort of newspapers and so on as ordinary tumours such as colon and lung and breast and so on. And those tumours are much more common and obviously then as a result get much more publicity. People with brain tumours can either do very well or have a really tough time, and it's really important that those patients who are faced with having a tough time, that their story is known and that Brain Tumour Ireland can help them in every way possible that we can. It's a very, very difficult area from the point of view of surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy. I don't want to be sort of portraying a doom and gloom sort of picture. There are many, many patients who do really well as a result of surgery. There's also a small group of patients for whom the tumour is life-ending in many ways, and they're the patients that need our care. I should add that when we talk about brain tumours, talking not just about brain tumours, we're talking about spinal tumours, and we're talking about children as well. And brain tumours are almost as common as leukemia in children. So it spans all age groups and many, many different types. There are well over 100 different types of brain tumours, whereas, say, for breast or for lung, there wouldn't be anywhere near that number of different types of tumour in those organs.
It's a complex area. Yeah, it's complex, isn't it? And is that part of the reason why it's not talked about as much? You do find with more complex illnesses, with more variants, that they don't get talked about as much. And I'm not sure it's about how common or not common they are. I just think maybe, when people find it difficult to articulate, not you professional guys, someone about the media or what have you, they kind of back away and go for the path of least resistance.
I agree. It's absolutely terrifying for somebody to be told that they may have a brain tumour, and there is so little information out there in the public arena about brain tumours and about their different types. And as I tried to say, there are many tumours that are immediately cured with surgery. Patients do really well afterwards. Then on the other hand, you have the tumours that are not curable by surgery, radiotherapy and chemotherapy. And people are frightened, and people don't know who to turn to. Even family practitioners, maybe a family practitioner might see 2 or 3 people in a lifetime with a brain tumour. We only have about 500 new primary brain tumours a year in Ireland. So that's actually a very small number. So, I agree that there is a lack of awareness, and Brain Tumour Ireland, which was set up several years ago, has been instrumental in trying to get the message out there that, look, all is not doom and gloom. And there are lots of support services available there for people with brain tumours.
How are we doing in terms of research, Michael? Maybe earlier diagnosis, different types of treatments, non-surgical treatments, all surgical treatments for that matter. Is it an area that there is a lot of research in?
There is. Just to say how we're doing, first of all, we're doing, in European levels, we're doing very well. And the survival for people in Ireland with the highest grade and most malignant brain tumour, I think we're about 4th or 5th in the European list. We're way ahead of the United Kingdom. In terms of the surgery for brain tumour is carried on in Cork and in Dublin, and the expertise is incredible. It's world class. All of the neurosurgeons in both those centres are trained all over the world in big centres. Radiotherapy is top class, and chemotherapy, which has a relatively small role to play in brain tumours, is also top class. Research has been done in a number of different places, particularly in the Royal College of Surgeons in Ireland. There's a dedicated brain tumour research unit in there that works closely with people in Beaumont Hospital. So we're not up there with the, I suppose, the big sneezes like UCLA in Los Angeles and so on, but we're holding our own. And in terms of the treatment that the patients get, they're getting as good a treatment in Ireland as they are anywhere else in the world.
Yeah,
no doubt about that.
And I suppose much of the focus of this coming week is, for those who can, and many can, is to live well with a brain tumour, and also about supporting those, and I think particularly supporting parents who get what for them at that time is the worst news, that their child might be affected, or is affected, by a brain tumour. So talk to me about those two areas, Michael.
So yes, in the individual hospitals, the children's hospitals, Cork University Hospital and Beaumont Hospital, there are dedicated teams of clinical nurse practitioners who are absolutely there 24/7 at the beck and call of the patients, their parents and so on, to be able to provide all sorts of answers to questions that may arise. Some of the treatments are very difficult for the patients to take. Problems can be encountered, and to have a nurse practitioner at the end of a phone or somebody in Brain Tumour Ireland at the end of a phone is really, really helpful for those people who can be very frightened with the diagnosis and the treatments and the complications of the treatments.
All right, there's a lot of information and a lot going on, and people can get more information about the webinar, which is upcoming, by going to braintumourireland.com. And we appreciate your time today, and anything we can flag during the course of that week, we will, of course. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care. Michael Farrell there, Brain Tumour Ireland board member and former neuropathologist. Okay. Right, so a caller says, do you know what places were first, second and third in the Planet list? This is the 9 till noon show. Of course I do. The Western Balkans Transdnepr cycling route is number one, launching in 2024. It's the first bike route connecting the Western Balkans. The moderately difficult 2,090-mile trail weaves through Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, Herzegovina, and so on. And that was number one. Number two, Kangaroo Island, South Australia. There's another worldness to KI. Which dazzles, bewilders and intoxicates. A mere 40-minute flight from Adelaide, Australia's third largest island, is surprisingly isolated, and on it goes. Number three, Tuscany, Italy. Few places celebrate the slow life or embody la dolce vita like Tuscany, be it exploring new hiking trails or rediscovering Cucina Contadina, farmhouse cuisine. The new gen Tuscan experience remains in perfect symbiosis with the land. And number four, Donegal, Ireland. With the longest coastline in Ireland and more than 100 beaches, the northernmost Irish county is purely wild with a big heart. The high sea cliffs in Europe, miles of unspoilt coastal hiking trails along the wild Atlantic Way, ancient forts, musical traditions and rich heritage of the Irish language make it perfect for the curious visitor. And who did we beat out? Behind us in the top 10, País Vasco, Spain. Pardon my ignorance, don't know how to pronounce that. Southern Thailand, the Swahili Coast in Tanzania, Montana in the United States, Seffelden Leogang in Austria, and the far north of Scotland. So that was the top 10. We placed fourth in there. So we're amongst good company, all right? So it wasn't... I'm not going to say a place name for it gets you in trouble. So that who was first, second, third, fourth, and then I ran through the entire 10. Happy to do that for you. Can anyone explain why the cycle lane on the way out from the Polestar just stops at the new pedestrian ramp? If they're expecting cyclists to dismount and walk over that, they are seriously misguided. Bikes will just use the road. Complete waste of money. I haven't seen the sort of that ramp. I presume for most cyclists they'll be able to go straight up and over that, would they not? I don't think most cyclists would have to dismount. It seems to have quite a low incline. I could be wrong, going from memory. Hi, I was wondering if anyone else thinks the ramp going into Rossolla and McNeely Villas is absolutely awful. Going in at an angle, it shakes the cars to bits. I'm not familiar with that. The traffic mayhem is the infrastructure is designed for business and not for people. So maybe we should do a social media poll. Is the traffic worse in Letterkenny now than it was before the lights went on? Would you expect that the situation would be resolved at this point? What about all the nice trees and bushes set in the centre meridian on the full lane? What happens when they have to close lanes to trim them back? I know that's what they're doing at the moment. I know it's kind of pretty. I don't really get the logic of the trees up the middle, because you have to close one lane to cut them then. How often? I don't know. But anyway, John's going to join us after this short break.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
At Sister Sarah's Gastropub, Letterkenny, let us look after your Christmas party needs this December with excellent food and entertainment in Letterkenny's premier venue, 9122238. Sister Sarah's, proud sponsors of today's show.
Make tasty meals with Double Savers from Dunnes Stores, where you'll save in the aisle with ingredients for a warming, budget-friendly vegetable curry. That's €1 sweet potato and 44-cent chickpeas, simmered in curry spices and 95-cent coconut milk, all from the Dunnes Stores range. And you can save again at the till with our 5 of 25 grocery vouchers. Double Savers from Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Easy Living Furniture's Oktoberfest sale has been extended but must end Sunday. Absolutely everything reduced, including sofas, dining, bedroom and mattresses. Final reductions for the last few days while stocks last. And remember, there's 0% interest-free finance available, so the decision is easy. Visit Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park. Oktoberfest sale must end Sunday.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €3 million.
Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie.
The National Lottery. It could be you.
Enhance your skills with SafeTech's part-funded training programs. At SafeTech, we provide courses including first aid, roadworks, people moving and handling, confined spaces, electrofusion and machinery training for Ireland and UK sites. Also online programs such as water hygiene, construction supervisors, safety reps and much more. If you have a group for training, SafeTech will go to you. Contact SafeTech today at safetech.ie and take the first step towards upskilling and safety compliance.
Did you hear about Nissan's 2-for-1 offer?
Wait, do you mean 2 for 1, the license plate, or 2 cars for the price of 1?
Both. If you buy a selected 2-for-1 Nissan now, in 2025 they'll replace it with a 251 Nissan for free.
Wow, that really is a 2 for 1 offer.
Buy a selected 2-for-1 Nissan and get a 251 Nissan for free. For details about this and all our 2-for-1 offers, contact your local Nissan dealer or visit nissan.ie. Terms and conditions apply. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at
21 minutes past 11. John, good morning to you.
Morning, how's it going, Greg?
Not too bad. You've been out and about in Letterkenny this morning. What have you noticed?
Well, there's been a major influx of these people that are supposedly begging on the streets again, the whole way from Dunnes Stores right up to Upper Main Street here. And they appear to be coming up now for the bank holiday weekend and Christmas period. Like it's certainly not it's not an attractive situation for people who come on to do their shopping, you know.
Can you give us an idea of how many might be on the street?
There's probably 6 or 8 maybe at the stage, you know, but they're in different parts of the town, like the whole way from the old Dunnes Stores right up. And they certainly don't appear to be in any distress. They all have a blanket and they're all begging and they all have the hand out, you know.
And you are confident, John, that a lot of these individuals sort of all came in at the same time?
No, of course, they all appeared this morning. First thing this morning, they're all sitting in the various spots around the flower baskets and around the square and around different parts that are attractive for people who go in to do shops and do their shopping, you know.
And you believe Gardaí should ask on this, go up and speak to them, find out what the situation is? I mean, why would a number of people all turn up at the same time? You believe that requires a bit of investigation to ensure that there isn't an organised thing going on here?
It's all to do with the fact you're going into a bank holiday and there's going to be lots of people around in the next couple of days. We're celebrating Halloween and there'll be young families and, you know, they find that an attraction, you know, so it's probably organised to a certain extent, you know.
All right, well, listen, we'll put an inquiry into An Garda Síochána to see what they will do or what they believe is going on here. We know they have taken action on this before. It might be news to them until such time as they're notified of it, but we'll see what comes from it, John. But you believe that it doesn't, it creates a bad image for Letterkenny Main Street? And you also, by the sounds of things, John, would question if these are actually people that are desperately in need of financial support.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, as I say, we'll check it out with the Gardaí. Thanks, John. Have you spotted that yourself? 086 60 25,000. What about all the nice trees and bushes set in the centre Meriden on the 4-lane? What happens when they have to close lanes to trim them back? Well, they have to close lanes to trim them back. Another caller says, "Hi, Greg. Someone texted your show less than 2 weeks ago about no room for ambulances. Your words, you said, I'm sure there'll be room made for emergency services. Rewind, listen to your own words." Well, I'm not an authority on anything, by the way, just to be absolutely clear on that. Now, I hope I don't come across as setting myself up as that. I use this platform to hopefully, for the most part, give people a platform to speak themselves. And also sometimes maybe in terms of a comment, you have to, the tone kind of sets the tone for the comment as well. I.e., you would hope that you spend millions upon millions upon millions on a new road entering a town and a very complex set of traffic lights on a roundabout. You would hope, and this was what I would have intended with my comment, you would hope there would be a plan there within to accommodate emergency vehicles, be it the An Garda Síochána, the fire service, ambulance service. So sometimes, I wouldn't say the comment was made tongue-in-cheek, but sometimes how you position a question a lot can be read from it in that regard. I know myself, I have great concerns about ambulance access and raised it on this programme on numerous occasions when there's roadworks ongoing and what have you. I would hope that the infrastructure of that road and the lights on the roundabout have been done and planned as such that there is a plan for emergency vehicles. We have an expert from the council on the show tomorrow to answer questions on it. One of the questions I will ask is, what is the plan to accommodate emergency vehicles? Where are cars supposed to go in the 4 lanes? What are cars supposed to do on the roundabout? Because that had to surely form some part of the planning on a project like this, with the main access, or one of the main access routes to the hospital. So I will get that question answered for you. Hi, Greg. The Polestar should be temporary traffic lights for busy times. It just took me 10 minutes to get from Ballyrain to the new Lidl. It used to take 2 minutes. I would have walked quicker. Well, the problem is though, the traffic lights, when they're on at busy times, they shut down the town yesterday. I'm not sure, and anyone out there, Letterkenny Main Street, the retail park, in around where Curry's is, the Main Street, up around the roundabout there at Penny's, I didn't see what was going on there. If you were there from, like, say, 4:30 to 5:30, was traffic moving freely? Is it just the Remelton Road and the 4 lanes where the problems are? Was traffic moving freely through and past the ATU, for an example? Like, be our eyes here. Let us know what the story was. Maybe it's only those 2 routes that are affected and not the other 2, if that makes sense. 086 60 25,000. Right, I don't have to take a break just yet. I can get to some of these comments here. I was in the ED in Letterkenny yesterday from 11 a.m. until discharged at 7:30 p.m. I'm amazed at the staff there, how they work in such conditions and keep a very caring and compassionate attitude. My experience was good. Maybe I was lucky, but treated with utmost respect. Care was excellent, offered food 3 times while there, so thank you to all our staff. You're doing a great job under difficult circumstances. Management need reviewing. It is, it goes without saying, but maybe we need to say it. We're doing this and speak about this in support of the staff, in recognition of the working conditions and the incredible work that the staff do. The same for the consultants, the junior doctors, and all the secretarial staff, the people that have to answer the phones, the people that have to organise what's going on in the background. We're highlighting this to try and support them, whilst also supporting the county in having a proper access to emergency services, acute services in a hospital. And make no mistake, whilst we're having this conversation, things are being done to try and improve it as well, because no organisation wants this level of scrutiny. But we also understand that some things can't be fixed immediately, but certainly some things can be worked on, and one would presume they are. As a diabetic in Buncrana with podiatry and eye problems, it's just steady up and down the road to Sligo and Galway. No HSE podiatrist in Letterkenny either. The pump isn't an option because that would mean more trips to Sligo. I need a driver to accompany on all trips. Can't even claim the travel costs back against tax. Shocking state of affairs. Yes, there is a pump in Sligo, but it's a long way away for a lot of people. My husband has to travel to Sligo for dermatology as the consultant won't travel to Letterkenny. Well, a lot more people are, if they can even get an appointment. You heard that letter I read earlier on, which was incredibly strongly worded. And you could read between the lines and what was written on the lines. How long is that person going to stick that out for? How can all these refugees afford the cars that are sitting parked outside their free accommodation? BMWs, Audis, Mercs sitting in a car park, getting free buses to school. Well, a condition of fleeing Ukraine and being hosted here is not being poor. If you had a Merc, you can take your Merc. You're fleeing bombs. It's not necessarily about rich people stay in Ukraine and poor people leave. So that's why, presumably, and there's lots of people here with Mercs that their children get school buses. So I'm not contradicting you, but that would be the reason as I would see it. Okay, now there has been a lot of coverage and reports that read as follows. And I hadn't come across this, and I was pretty much across most of what happened at Creasla. And the emergency response at the time was, it was cross-border. It was all resources that you need. they're there for you. And I would have thought if something like I'm about to read had happened, I would have heard about that at the time. Some Northern Ireland ambulances were unable to rush to Creeslough after last year's explosion that killed 10 people because foreign-born paramedics on board did not have visas that allowed them to cross the border. The disclosure about the Altnagelvin Hospital-based ambulances in Derry was made to an inquiry by the British-Irish Parliamentary Assembly into the operation of the century-old Common Travel Area Agreement between the Republic and the United Kingdom. The comments came from Fine Gael Senator Emer Curry. As I say, it's the first I had heard of that, and I would have expected to hear about this if this were the case. And we tried to get the senator to tell us where she got this information from. Dr. Nigel Ruddle is a medical director at the Northern Ireland Ambulance Service and joins us on the programme now. Nigel, and I presume this has been thrust upon the Northern Irish Ambulance Service, this information, as it has us. But what can you tell us as to these claims by this senator?
Well, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to come on, because this is as much a surprise to us as it appears to have been to you. We were made aware of these media reports about the response to Creeslough on the 7th of October, and this suggestion that some of our crews were unable to respond due to visa issues. We would like to put on record that our response to Creeslough was not affected in any way due to border or visa issues. No NIA staff were prevented in crossing the border for any reason. And to be honest, we're deeply concerned at any reports suggesting this, because those comments will be deeply upsetting to the victims and families who were and still are affected by this tragedy.
And I think that's a very fair comment, Doctor, but also I think it does a disservice to the spirit of the response to that crisis, the cross-border nature of it, the fact that all gloves were off, it was all hands on deck.
You've described it very well there. I can remember the phone call coming in and returning to our control room when this was unfolding. We immediately dispatched a range of resources, including our air ambulance, our helicopter team on board, our specialist, what we call our hazardous area response team, ambulance officers, paramedics, emergency technicians, and even some of our non-emergency transport crews to assist our colleagues in the National Ambulance Service. And in fact, later on that evening, we sent further crews as they came on for night shift to relieve the crews who had already been responding. And we were on scene well into the weekend to assist with the rescue and recovery efforts. So we are very clear that we are not aware of any difficulties at all in responding to this incident. We do not believe we held anybody back, and in fact the issue of visas and border issues did not arise on the day.
That being said, I'm sure you would have had knowledge in advance, not of Creeslough, but in advance and the fallout from Brexit, that there could be issues. Is that something you had taken account of to minimise the impact of that as much as possible?
Yes, on a number of levels. First of all, we do have a memorandum of understanding, and it's been long in place with the National Ambulance Service to provide cross-border assistance in the event of a major incident. We had done work ahead of EU exit to identify a very small number of our staff who were non-EU nationals, and we worked with them ahead of EU exit to make sure they had the necessary paperwork in place to allow them to continue to work unhindered. There have been queries before about the cross-border working of registered healthcare professionals, such as paramedics, etc. And we had a lot of discussion back and forwards with our own Department of Health and between the two governments to allow crews to respond across the border, which we do on an almost daily basis anyway. But to allow them to continue to respond across the border where there's a clear, immediate, identified humanitarian need.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Doctor, I mean, we know the amazing collaborative response and the unfettered response as well, because we all came together at that time. And we obviously, you know, and I hope you do know, we all greatly appreciate it. And I'm really pleased that you made yourself available at such short notice just to absolutely clarify the situation.
Well, thank you very much for that opportunity. Our thoughts are absolutely still with our colleagues, friends and neighbours affected by this. I know Creeslough well. I would visit there often, and we have been particularly touched in the service by some of the incredibly kind communication we've had from members of the community in the aftermath of this incident.
Okay, take care of yourself, Doctor. Thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it. Okay, that's Dr. Nigel Ruddle, who is the medical director at Northern Ireland Ambulance Service, and you heard there really directly from him, and in no uncertain terms, that claim has been absolutely refuted. Back with more after the break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
'Tis almost the season to indulge. Secure your staff party or get-together at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. Christmas party nights now available to book on 9122238. Sister Sarah's, our proud sponsors of today's show.
Are you ready for unmissable magic? Are you ready for winter in Dublin? November's longer evenings when the city lights shine even brighter. Chock-a-block with festive fun in December. And unmissable live music and must-see events in January. That's 3 whole months of winter wonder just waiting for you. Get ready for the buzz of our bustling city streets. It's enchanting, unforgettable fun. Make your plans today at visitdublin.com. Winter in Dublin. It's magic. Brought to you by Folja Ireland.
New this week at Home Store and More. All loose cutlery and all cutlery sets are all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price loose cutlery and all the half price cutlery sets are gone, they're gone. Also, all vacuum storage bags and all living room throws are still all half price. But when all the half price vacuum storage bags and all the half price living room throws are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. New store now open in Frascati Centre, Blackrock, Dublin. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Uno, dos, tres. A hain, a do, a tree. 1, 2, 3. The Arona, the Ateca, and the Tarraco. 3 great SUVs from Seat. And when you order now, you can enjoy 3 years free tyre insurance and 3 years roadside assistance, plus 3 flexible payment options to purchase your new Seat. Visit seat.ie to discover even more of our fantastic offers. Great things come in threes at DMG Motors, Donegal Town. And while I have 3 seconds, allow me to say that yes, terms and conditions apply.
Restex Beds and Furniture special offer for this month only. They're giving a free pack of hotel-grade pillows for every customer when you buy a bed or mattress. T's and C's apply while stocks last. Call into their showroom at Restex Beds, Mountain Top, Letterkenny.
Thinking of changing your floors? Why not see what Florid Letterkenny has to offer? Florid have a large selection of solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring, together with a fantastic choice of parquet, herringbone flooring, all at incredible value. Don't delay. Call Florid today on 087 161 7008.
Hi, Kate Appleby here. Just wanted to let you all know my exciting new autumn shoe collection is available nationwide in all good shoe stores. kateappleby.com. Hope you enjoy my shoes.
Now, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We welcome on to it Eddie Crawford, Red Hugh O'Donnell Society member. Good morning to you. How are you getting on, Eddie?
Good morning, Greg, and thanks for inviting me on to talk about our birthday celebrations for Red Hugh on Saturday coming.
Talk to us about the Fighting Prince of Donegal. Give us a brief history.
Well, Red Hugh O'Donnell was the son of the then ruling Lord of Tyrconnell, who was also Hugh O'Donnell. He married Fionnuala MacDonald from the Isles, and Fionnuala herself was, I suppose she came from great stock herself, being a MacDonald from Scotland, and her mum would have been Campbell from Scotland. And when they got married and she came to live in Ireland, she took with her 100 of her best bodyguards. Mm-hmm. And would you believe 80 of those were Crawfords, and that's where my interest comes into. Possibly my ancestral history would have started in the Port Hall, St. Johnston area. Now, when he gave her as a present a few places. One of them was a castle in Carrigans, and one where we'll be involved a lot on Saturday is Mungavlin Castle. It's built on the shores of the River Foyle there, between Port Hall and St. Johnston. And of course, they also had a big association with Lifford. So we have a full day's programme of events, Greg. If you want me to give a quick run over them now.
Yeah, I haven't let you off the history message yet.
I can answer any question.
You stole the brigand. It's not that long ago that we had the huge celebration. Well, it actually is longer than I thought. My words. 2007, was that when we had the was it the Flight to the Earls commemoration?
Yeah, well, that would have been the Flight of the Earls, which is a different aspect of the history of the O'Donnells and the troubles that they had with the English back then in the 16th, 17th century. The Flight of the Earls would have taken place from a place called Portnamury. It's just on the Letterkenny side of Rathmullen. And that's where our own Red Hugh O'Donnell was also abducted at the age of 15 years of age and taken to Dublin Castle by the English and held for over 4 years before he successfully escaped and made his way back to Donegal again.
How well archived is our knowledge and history of Red Hugh O'Donnell, Eddie?
The archives and the knowledge of Red Hugh is quite good actually, but it's getting the message out to the people of Ireland, certainly from the part of Spain through the work of our fellow group colleague Carlos Burgess in Valladolid, where Red Hugh is buried. They certainly celebrate the life of Red Hugh O'Donnell big time, much more than we celebrated. So this is why I'm trying now at the moment with Thomas O'Brogan and other people involved in our group to promote Red Hugh, how important that his life was and what he had done for the freedom of Ireland during the 16th and 17th century, well, 16th century in particular. And this is what we hope to achieve here, and we have quite a number of aims as a group that we can move this process forward. And thank God, as a result of the search for the remains of Red Hugh a couple of years ago in Valladolid, which Valladolid was the ancient capital of Spain, and as a result of that search, it went worldwide. It went all of the major media stations worldwide, and it brought a local lad that was born in our area to the world stage. And yet and all, we haven't succeeded in that. But thankfully, this last 2 years, as I say, with the help of our colleagues in Spain and in Portugal, we're doing that and we're succeeding in it.
Indeed, and I had a chat with our historian, Dr. Joe there. It might have been earlier this year, last year, and I really think this is an area of our history and with tourism potential that we really should capitalise a little bit more on, because an awful lot of the people in our ancestry, our history, are held in much higher regard and importance in other parts of the world. And why aren't we building on that and selling people the journey of these people's place of birth and their heritage? So, Eddie, I stopped you in your track. You were about to go into full flow of this series of events in Lifford and St Johnstone on Saturday, the 28th of October. So what's coming up this coming Saturday?
Well, Greg, it's great to have the opportunity, and as usual, Highland Radio has always been backing us from we started this, and thanks to yourself and Caroline there with you for giving us the opportunity as well to highlight it. So it starts on Lifford on Saturday, coming at 1 p.m. just outside the courthouse in Lifford, where our colleague Thomas O'Brogan, who is a historian and a military reenactor of the period, he will give a talk on the history of Lifford and how the town was formed around a castle that was built by an O'Donnell. Mm-hmm. He'll also talk about the way that this particular O'Donnell, along with the scribes, wrote the life of Columkill from Lifford. A lot of people don't know that. He'll also talk about the various battles that have taken place in and around the Lifford area and the strategic importance that Lifford held, especially during the siege of Derry. an awful lot of history to Lifford, and I would really, really implore the people of the Lifford and Strabane local area to come down along and find out the history of your local area. And
well, there's something very special in
people.
standing in the space that these historic, like me and you can talk, and it's fascinating, right? But you can stand in the space. You can stand almost in the same footprints that Red Hugh and others stood and learn in that real 5-dimensional way what happened in that area. I mean, what an amazing thing to be a part of.
It's brilliant, and Thomas himself has a great way of getting it across. So I would really recommend the local community to go down to Lifford at 1 o'clock, and then from there we reassemble then, Greg, down at Maggie's Tavern between Porthall and St Johnstone. We'll reassemble there at the car park, and we'll move on to Montgavlin Castle, which is just a couple of minutes down the road from it. And down there, I'll be giving a talk on the history of Montgavlin Castle itself and the various things, how it was built, etc. And we'll also have a lone piper down there who will play a lament and all in the memory of Red Hugh. And then after that, we move on back up to Maggie's Tavern again, and that's where the fun and the entertainment and the rest of the evening's crack. And it starts off the first session of traditional music. That'll be started off about 4 o'clock. Traditional music from good friends of mine that are really, really quality players in traditional Irish music from the Strabane area. The military reenactment group, Oris, will also have a table display of dress and weaponry from the period, and especially the young people will be able to go up and touch these and hold these weapons and get photographs with them and learn how it was all done. And this Oris group, it's a fantastic group. And of course, Maggie's will put on tea and coffee and biscuits and
would you stop? I haven't eaten yet, Eddie. Pack it in, will you? You've done enough. All right, we've plugged it. You don't have to torture me at the same time with Maggie's biscuits and sandwiches.
You're going to have to listen to me a bit more then, because we have so much more coming on. And all of these is free of charge to the public. It's not cost the public anything. It's totally free. Then at 6 o'clock, then we'll have the official opening of the Red Hugh Lounge in the tavern itself.
Lovely.
Alice, who's the proprietor there, wanted always to have a lounge dedicated to our local chieftain Red Hugh. So the Cathaoirleach of Donegal County Council, Councillor Martin Harley. Harley will be officiating at that, and he will be joined by the county manager of Donegal County Council, various council members, and
Councillor Patricia Lowe. Patricia Lowe is going to be there as well. The mayor of Derry.
The mayor of Derry Strabane, Patricia, she is also coming, as is a lot of our national and local politicians will be there as well. And it's great to have people like that on board, Greg, because especially with Patricia there, because there's a cross-border element to that, and the way that, and this in itself, it's a great opportunity from a political perspective, because our aims as a group, we need the politicians behind us.
Of course.
And if these people
how could they refuse you? I mean, I have to let you go now because I'm running out of time. But listen, storytelling, weapons and dress display of the 16th century, the opening of the lounge. It's going to be a fantastic Saturday. Is it the Wolfe Tones most famously did a song, "The Flight of the Earls"? Is it?
They've all done it. They've not just the Flight of the Earls. They've all done.
Laments
what do you call it? Phil Coulter. Listen to Phil Coulter's song about Red Hugh O'Donnell. The tune that he played there. I forget the name of it offhand. But yeah, to Maura Logue, she will be actually Inian Du, Red Hugh's mother, live that night on Saturday night, and she'll be doing a talk in her association with her mother. the pipe major from Derry, Jim O'Hagan, will be there. All the traditional musicians, including the great group Crack, will be playing, and they're all doing it free of charge.
Yeah.
They're all doing this sort of. So this is a thing that we're trying to promote now, and if we can get. I can't forget not to mention the Donegal County Council and Dillon's Hotel for their sponsorship as well.
Well, I have to go. It's the flight of the Gregs now, I'm afraid, Eddie. I have to cut you off, or it'll be Saturday. You have to get ready.
Lovely, great. Thank you.
Take care of yourself, much. Eddie Crowford of the Red Hugh O'Donnell Society. Shall we hear a little bit of the Chieftains and their song, Red Hugh O'Donnell? Well, Flight of the Earls, I beg your pardon.
I can hear the bells of Dublin in this lonely waiting room, and the paper boys are singing in the rain. Not too long before they take us to the airport and the noise to get on board a transatlantic plane. We've got nothing left to stay for. We have no more left to say, and there isn't any work for us to do. So farewell, you boys and girls.
Prepare for the merriest time of the year at Sister Sarah's Letterkenny. Plan your unforgettable Christmas party now with fantastic food and festive fun this December. Sister Sarah's are proud sponsors of today's show.
Tesco Club Card gives you the power to lower prices so you can make some monster savings. Like large Tesco pumpkins was €3.29, now €2.49. Selected Cadbury treat-sized chocolate sharing bags were €3.55, now €2. And Coke Zero and Diet Coke 24-pack was €18, now €10. Lower the cost of your shop with your Tesco Club Card or app. The power to lower prices. Tesco. Every little helps. Product subject to availability. Prices may vary in express stores.
Welcome to the Spa at Orchids, one of Europe's largest spas at the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran. Discover tranquility in our Japanese-themed garden, boasting 7 treatment rooms, seaweed baths, and a secret garden with an outside hot tub and sauna. Now, let me take you to the heart of Bundoran, where you'll find the Holyrood Hotel Spa and Leisure Centre. Don't miss out on our exclusive midweek hotel specials. More information at holyroodhotel.com.
If you've got a smart meter, you should get an Electric Ireland smart meter plan too. Why? Because you can see a breakdown of your energy usage like never before. From heating, cooking, lighting, and more. Now you can find out exactly how much electricity you use by hour, day, and type of appliance, making your usage clearer and your world brighter. Sign up to a smart meter plan at electricireland.ie. Smart meter required, T's and C's apply.
Monster Halloween Bingo in Native Bumberlands in Inishowen Gateway Hotel, Buncrana, Wednesday, 25th of October. €3,000 in prizes. €1,000 must go in the last house. That's Bingo at the Inishowen Gateway Hotel, Buncrana on Wednesday, 25th of October. Doors open at 7 with eyes down at 8 p.m.
The Letterkenny Halloween Fest is on Tuesday the 31st with spectacular fun for all the family. Dress up for the CDP's Fancy Dress competition and get on the trick-or-treat trail between 1 and 3. There's storytelling, a Halloween Fest parade down Main Street and so much more. All afternoon from 12:30. This Tuesday the 31st at the Letterkenny Halloween Fest. You dare not miss it. For more info, see Shop LK on Facebook.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport, where you can now fly daily to London Heathrow with Aer Lingus and connect via Heathrow to over 80 destinations worldwide, including Boston, New York and more.
Okay, spells of hazy sunshine will occur through the afternoon. Rain's likely during the evening or early tonight. Temperatures of 10 to 12 degrees and moderate breezes. Rain will give way to scattered heavy showers and clear spells overnight. Lowest temperatures 5 to 9 degrees in light southeast breezes. Some mist or fog locally too. There was a fog warning issued by Met Éireann yesterday evening. Didn't see any fog myself. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Greg, I live on Lurgy Brack. The ambulance have to use the... they have to use the 1114 at the bottom, which is a narrow road, and they get held up with large vehicles on that road. I used to walk to work using Lurgy Brack. Now I can't due to traffic using the hard shoulder as a lane. Okay. Driving behind a bin lorry this morning at 72 kilometres per hour, general speed limit. It was dark. Noticed a young man standing on the back and holding along. Looked very dangerous. I know this is not allowed. Traffic back this morning to Apple Green on the 4 lanes. Well, it was back further than that when I was coming in. Greg, I am parked. Some of these come in over the course of the morning, okay? So just in case you're on the road right now, it's not going to be the case now, but people took the time to message in. I'm parked just before you turn up to the church lane, just as you speak, and there's a guy with a blanket over him. Oh, sorry, this is as it relates to beggars. There's a guy with a blanket over him having a right feast to himself, coffee, sandwich, and now he's just jumped up and walked down the street and abandoned his stuff on the street. So as to say, we're going to flag that with the Gardaí to see what's going on. I'm just after coming in from shopping, and there is 3 on the street, in very close proximity. I totally agree with John. Something needs to be done about this before the bank holiday weekend. Isn't it time the whole issue around the new bridge was highlighted in the national media, considering millions was squandered to buy the land for it at Bonnegee? Looks to me like the 4 lanes and Polestar lights are a deflection from what's badly needed, i.e. the bridge. Well, I can't dictate what they talk about nationally. My word, it's tough enough. But it's part of the vision. If a regular work scheme meeting turns into... Oh, I'll come back to that because it's quite a complex one that I can't just throw out at the end of the show. That plane early this morning was from the German Air Force. So the plane finder app on my phone told me there's one big German plane has gone over. It does go over from time to time. It's got propellers and it's really noisy. I wonder, is that it? Last couple before we leave you. Just witnessed a blue car throwing out a handful of paper on the Terman flat as we sat at the traffic light. Shame on them. Well, what would possess someone to dump paper out of their car like that? And especially with people watching. It takes a special type of character, doesn't it? Hi, Greg. With regards to the lights and the Derry Road in Letterkenny, the grass is doing better than the hedge and trees in the middle of the road. That person who was talking about the cycle lane wouldn't have to worry about the cyclists using the lane. They'll still be using the road. And if there's a build-up of traffic because of the lights at the roundabout, just wait until the lights at the bottom of the Cullion Road and the Clanree get turned on, please. It's too late in the morning. Okay, listen, thanks so much to all of you who listen to the show daily and those of you who watch the show. Your support is so appreciated. I hope you know that. And we really do try and work hard for you here in the show. Obviously, there's the on-air stuff, but Caroline and myself working behind the scenes too as best we can. We really appreciate your support. We're back with you tomorrow morning.